Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Duff. And this week is a very special episode, because this is our 200th episode, which means we've been doing this for almost 4 years because we do approximately 50 episodes a year. And it's crazy. It's crazy that we're already to 200. But here we are. Can you believe it?
I can't believe it. But I also did a thing today where I had to write down every single episode that we've ever done. So I actually can't. You
were like, actually, it did feel like almost 200. Yeah.
It felt like I did that 200 times. So yeah.
Here's my thing. Give or take that we have talked about, our episodes are anywhere from an hour and a half to 3 hours long. I can absolutely believe that we have yapped for how many hours would that be? Times that by
400 to 600, roughly speaking.
I can absolutely believe that we have yapped for 400 to 600 hours.
I'm very willing to believe it's 600. Yeah, because I think it adds up.
Aren't you proud of us? That's a lot of yapping.
We're professional yappers at this point.
Vocal cords. We really are. We're professional film critics.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
And yap.
But I do have a really important question for you guys now that it's our 200th episodes. We've done a lot of different movies over the years, all kinds of different movies. And I just have one really important question for you, which is, what's your favorite scary movie, Sydney and Monica? Did you like that? It came to me in a moment.
Monica's favorite one obviously was Brahms the Boy too.
That was it, yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah, because I got sad. Yeah, that's definitely the one. I mean, my favorite scary movie is The Witch, but I don't know if that's my favorite episode. Are we talking movie or episode? Movie we've ever covered.
I mean, I was talking segue, you know what I mean? But we can get into the question.
Well, here's the thing. I can tell you that my answer
is back to segue.
It appeases both because my favorite movie is Scream. Still to this day, 4 years later, nothing has changed.
That's so crazy because mine is Scary Movie.
Monica, problematic.
Oh my God, I've got to
Can you? I'm the one who always gets canceled. If that was my legitimate answer, we'd have to boot me from the podcast for real.
Look, it was a Hallmark legendary iconic project is the thing about it, actually.
Fact.
So there are some real scary movie lovers out there. I won't say I wasn't laughing because on this episode, go ahead, Sydney. Let me put my knife away.
So problematic that at some points I was like, oh God, I can't believe we're gonna have to talk about this and not be horrible.
But guess what? At the end of the movie, it takes a little bit of it back and they go, just kidding. So that's
that honestly, I was clenching the entire movie. That last bit at the end, I unclenched half of 1 centimeter. I was like, okay.
Yeah, just that much. There you go.
Just a little bit, but I'm still sweating profusely.
Yeah. Well, if you haven't picked up on what is happening, for our 200th episode, we wanted to do something really special. We wanted to do something really fun. So we put it to our listeners. We asked for a bunch of suggestions about what we could possibly cover if there was a glaring omission in our lineup so far, or a movie that is so Spooky Tuesday that they couldn't believe that we haven't done it yet. And I think where this suggestion came from is also that, first of all, it's so relevant to our summer, as it turns out. I forgot about that aspect of it. So it's so relevant because we talked about it earlier this summer. I don't know if you guys remember, but it's also I Know What You Did Last Summer. And on that first episode, we were like, this movie is like a movie that they would make fun of in the Scary Movie franchise. And do you know what? They sure did. It turns out they were on top of that, actually. They were like, yeah, we thought of that first.
And also in the second one, when we did I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, I literally said this movie felt like a Scary Movie franchise movie because it's so wackadoo.
Right?
Yeah, and they said, yeah, girl, we were there. We know. But we got a couple suggestions. One of them was Scary Movie. We put it to our patrons to vote, and they were excited for us to talk about that film. And we said, we are also open to talking about that film. And I don't think we are capable of doing that without also throwing it back to the basics. Like, if we're going to have I Still Know What You Did Last Summer and be talking about Scary Movie, we need that other half. And I don't think we knew it was the other half. I think we thought it was like the main thing. But it was another one of our suggestions, and it spoke to my heart because I've been trying to push Spooky Take Tuesday on the agenda for literal years, but I haven't found my opening. You know what I mean? I've always been like, if there's a Tuesday and it's on the 2nd, or maybe if it's on the 22nd, then it's a Spooky Take Tuesday.
We'll do it.
Yeah, like Fifth Tuesday, that was a strike of genius. You know what I mean? I haven't found my in yet for Spooky Take Tuesday. Now I feel like it might be every 200 episodes. We'll see in 200 more episodes, I guess.
Oh my God. I'm not committing to that.
In 4 years, you won't be open to doing one more movie we've already done before? You don't want to do House of Wax in 4 years from now?
I'm
Take it into consideration.
Not committing to anything. I don't know what 4 years from now.
I'm committing for her. I'm committing for her. This is what we're doing. Spooky Take Tuesday every 200 episodes. But I was so excited to see that suggestion on there. And then when we realized that it would be the perfect double feature, we were like, we have to do it. It appeases the majority of our patrons. And there's really just no way to talk about Scary Movie without talking about Scream. So in this episode, we're talking about both, and I cannot wait. And I have my props all ready, and I'm going to try not to stab myself. But if I get a little stabbed, it'll be on theme, won't it? So
it's a real knife. She has a real knife that close to her face. Just
Chelsea
so you know,
is committing to the bit. Okay,
they said last epised cut your hair, and I cut this hair right before we started recording. Is it my hair?
You did?
Yeah, it is technically.
She owns that hair.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is it?
It's
hair?
fine. Is it hair? In a way.
In a way.
And I could cut a little more of it right now if I needed to, but it's actually perfect. I did a perfect job, so I don't need to.
But I mean, I think that we did a really good job of finding a way to not only be talking about Scary Movie and to respect the process of democracy in voting.
I love democracy.
We respect democracy.
We respect democracy, but we also respect what we want to do because it's our podcast. So we did what we wanted to do.
It's a dictatorship over here.
Okay? And we did what you guys wanted to do. And the thing that we wanted to do was not even suggested by us. Again, it was suggested by Anna.
Yeah. So, thank you, Anna. Thank you, Anna. Thanks for getting that one in. I loved it. So cool. I really tried not to tell everybody to vote for that from the beginning so that people could vote with their hearts. And I'm so glad that all of our hearts led us here. We all agree that all of our hearts led us here, and I'm so glad.
All of our hearts led us here. Oh my God. Also, sorry, just while we're doing patron shout outs, look behind Sydney, Leo. There you go.
I keep him with me at all times, and now he's stalking me from behind.
Oh my God, scary. So they should make a movie about that.
Okay, so I guess we should dive in. Well, we don't really know how. We were like, oh, we'll talk about Scream and then Scary Movie, or we'll talk about Scary Movie and then Scream. But 90% of Scary Movie is verbatim. But what happens in Scream, but then they say something fucked up instead of one of the words.
Okay.
They just say they're like, blah, 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 racist thing, blah, blah, blah. Exact same quote. Fart joke at the end.
Yeah. I will say, I'd like to ask, what was your process for preparing for this episode? Did you, what did you watch first, or did you watch something more than once? Like, how did you get ready to cover both movies?
I watched Scream first.
Okay.
And because I was like, I want to see the OG and then I want to see how they made fun of it. Because, like, chronologically speaking. So
Yeah.
I did that. Then I watched Scary Movie. Then I watched half of Scream again. And then I watched half of Scary Movie again. And that's very scientific. I did that on purpose. I won't say why.
We watched Scream a couple months ago on a rooftop
Mhm.
together.
We
Very
sure did.
romantic. Very romantic. Very cutesy.
Super romantic.
And so technically, I guess I watched Scream first, but then this time around,
Months ago.
yeah,
It counts. It counts.
it counts. It counts. It counts.
It counts because when we were watching that, I was like, it's a shame that I haven't figured out how to do Spooky Take Tuesday yet. Because watching this movie, I have things to say about Scream.
See,
We watched it. It was like, because it was on a rooftop, it was one of those ones where they give you headphones to listen to it so that they're not blaring movie sounds out into the wilderness in downtown Los Angeles. And I was like, I have an appreciation for the soundtrack of this movie that I don't think I'd ever fully paid attention to as much before. It's never been so in my ears before. So
Right?
yes, that was something I like never realized that when Sydney and Billy are like making out after he sneaks out, they're like playing "Don't Fear the Reaper."
yeah, that one
Yeah.
especially got my attention because it's such a it misleads you so easily if you're not like super clued in and you don't know what's going on yet, because so many of the parts of the lyrics that they're playing on that are like "baby you're my man" and like Romeo and Juliet, blah blah blah. So you're just like, they're lovers and it's beautiful and it's romantic. And then actually it's like, "Don't fear the Reaper, girl, the Reaper is here, girl,
He's right here.
hello, the Reaper. I'm telling you about the
Mhm.
Reaper right now."
Okay, but also too, in Scary Movie,
In Scary Movie?
we had a James Van Der Beek cameo.
An
And
award-winning cameo, by the way. I'll get into the
by
awards
the
later,
way,
That
obviously, but
shit
an
was
award-winning
so
cameo.
and then as
funny.
they're making out, it is the Dawson's Creek
I don't wanna wait for the light to be
over
over.
there. And I was just like unwell
Yeah.
when that happened.
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all. I haven't, the only scary movie that I have watched vaguely recently, and by vaguely recently, I mean in the last 10 years, is Scary Movie 2.
Did we watch that together?
I
I don't know. I feel like you were telling me, explaining the jokes to me because I hadn't like seen some of the movies or something, or
This
maybe
is my
it just put your
strong
your voice inside of my head.
I hate
Yeah,
that.
but like I haven't, like I never watched the original, like I haven't revisited the original one in so long, and so I was like, I have no idea what to expect. I know it like big riffs off Scream. I remember some of the like really iconic parts where it's like Carmen Electra and she like sexily runs.
Oh my
And also
Yeah.
let's not forget Ms. Haley Bieber did that for Halloween one year, and
Oh my
her
God,
she
shouts.
looked so
no
slay.
way.
She
I
looked
bet she
so
did. She's
slay.
a hot bitch.
Yeah. So I was like, that's a great costume for her, actually. And then the was
Yeah.
The was up thing
Yeah.
is so fucking funny. Oh my God.
Honestly, when you are looking for Ghostface merch, a lot of the time it is quoting Scary Movie. It is not quoting Scream, because they do the just chillin', killing. Like that's on a lot of shit. That's on a lot of shit. And that's Scary Movie. That is not Scream.
Ghostface rap is also Big Slay as well.
Yes.
So that should be quoted all the time. The one thing I'll say, I was watching this movie and I was having a panic attack. Scary Movie. I was having a panic attack because I was like, this is so fucked up. But one thing I will say about it is that it is an equal opportunist film. It comes for everyone.
Everybody.
It's racist. It's sexist. It's homophobic. It's transphobic. It really
a lot of queer representation. It's just like, is it good representation? That's a different question.
So much queer representation, but every time they're like, that
They're
gay person
representing
is a predator.
diverse groups.
Every time they're like, are they gay? They're a predator, and they are trying to come kill you. That's what they always say in this movie. I'm like,
I have a question.
Please stop.
If you are a Republican and you're listening to this, I don't know why you would be, but if you are, Is this movie where you get all of your ideas about gay people? It has to
This
be,
is
right?
what they think that
This
trans
is the
women
gay
in sports
agenda,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is what they think trans women in sports is 100%. I
Okay.
love Miss Man.
I
She
will
just
say
happens
Miss
to
Man's
like sniffing.
Miss Man's braid was a slay. It was giving me like sister wife volume realness a little bit. And I was like,
Mhm.
honestly, I kind of like that.
I liked her crunchy little mini
Honestly,
skirt. She looked
Exactly.
great.
and she was a reference to like classic horror. I mean, that felt very Carrie with the gym
Yeah.
teacher who's like kind of lesbian coded in that movie. I can't remember if I just brought lesbian coding to that movie or if it was like in the movie. I think it was in the movie though. You know what I mean?
No,
To a
I think it
degree. Like
was.
I feel like on IMDb trivia they were like, yeah, she's a lesbian. And I was like, I knew it, but
She's
She
a
I
just,
gym
like,
didn't
teacher. Of
cared
course, she's
a
a
lot.
lesbian.
yeah, I didn't check my notes, but yeah, the way I prepared for this episode was, you know, I think I probably saw Scary Movie a bunch of times on TV back in the day. It was one of those ones that was like always on Comedy Central or whatever. And there are some moments from it that are 100% burned into my brain. But for the most part, it had been probably 15 years at least since I'd seen it. And I feel like I have seen Scream a lot lately, and a lot since maybe when we started this podcast, I'd only seen it like 2 or 3 times. Now I feel like I've easily seen it like 5 to 10 times minimum. And
Same.
so I needed to I was like, I could recite Scream for you probably if I needed to. So let me watch Scary Movie first, just for vibes. I'll just put it on while I'm doing other things for vibes. And then I'll watch Scream, and then I'll watch Scary Movie again. So now I'm like, I got a sense of it, and then I'm like watching for details later once I remember like
Mhm.
what is there to pay attention to. So that was the way I went about it, and it just is wild, man. It's a wild movie.
It's so wild.
It's so fucking funny.
It
I'm
is
a Scary
funny.
Movie 3 girl. I'm a Scary Movie 3
Which
girl. So
that's
that's
the
one
one
I
with
saw.
signs.
That's the
That's
Signs
the Signs
one, yeah.
Okay.
and The Ring. And so yeah, The Ring was like the most like overarching horror movie of my childhood. I never
Okay.
saw it, but
Yeah.
everybody
But
talked about it,
influenced it.
and I was so scared of the
It was
idea
ever
of it.
present. Sure.
Uh-huh. And then I think it was Cammie who showed me. Cammie is a friend of the pod. She showed me Scream 3. I'm pretty sure we watched it on a sleepover. Sorry, Scary Movie 3. I'm gonna be doing that a lot. And I was like, scandalized. And if we thought we were scandalized then, imagine how scandalized
Imagine
we
watching
feel
it now. Yeah.
Right?
Imagine
Like
now.
imagine because like this came out I think when I was like 9 or 10, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
'cause it's a 2000, it's like 2000. So I was like 9 or 10. And obviously you're watching this movie by the time you're like 11. You know what I mean? Like you're sitting there, it's 6th grade, it's come out on, you
Not
know,
high.
VHS. You've convinced your parents to rent it for you at Blockbuster,
Yeah.
and they're like, it's a funny movie, it's fine. And
It's
you
very
get-
R-rated. It's extremely R-rated.
but you
Super
get
R-rated. There's
none
peen.
of the
There's a lot of
references.
hanging brain. There's a lot of little penis things
Hanging
happening.
brain is such a beautiful
Beautiful hanging
I
brain.
felt
term.
good saying it. I felt good saying it. Should I say it
You
again?
hesitated a little
Hanging-
bit. Say it with your whole chest,
hanging
Monica.
brain.
Brain
say it like
was
summer.
hanging.
Hanging brain.
Yeah, well, I mean, relatedly to I Know What You Did Last Summer, I will say in the history of Scary Movie, and I found an oral history from Entertainment Weekly written by another friend of the pod, Shirley Lee. So I had to text her this morning and be like,
Oh,
"Hey, girl,
oh my
I'm
god.
looking at your article. You're gonna be a little expert source for me tonight." And I also found a oral history of Scream that came out after we covered Scream for the first time because they did it for its like 25th anniversary before the 5th movie was coming out. So that was a text we didn't even have access to last time. I don't know if we were like doing research last time or whatever. That was a zillion years ago.
It was literally our first episode.
we were different people
Yeah.
then. But yeah, I mean, it is interesting. The original title for Scream when it was being shopped around was Scary Movie. And that's where they
Oh.
pulled it from for Scary Movie because it is from the same production companies. Like they're both Miramax Dimension Films or whatever.
Yeah.
And
I was like, how
part
did
of
they get
that-
away with it? That's how they got away with it.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Well, it made sense. An article that I read, don't remember which one, but I linked all of the articles that I read so you can find it yourself if you're really invested. But it said basically like from the sorry, I'm gonna bring up the Weinsteins, hard not to. But from the Weinsteins' perspective, they didn't want anybody else like cannibalizing their own film. You certainly don't want somebody outside to be making fun of you in a way you have no control over. Yeah, and then you're just the butt of the joke instead of being in on the joke. So it makes sense that the Weinsteins snatched it up. And there are some quotes from Bob Weinstein in the Entertainment Weekly article, and it's not funny because obviously it's not funny, but it is a little bit funny that it came out in like October 2017 before anybody not Hollywood knew anything about Harvey Weinstein. And so there's like a little disclaimer in there being like, just to be clear, these interviews happened a couple weeks ago and I just sorry. So like, yeah, that is unfortunately a stain on both of these franchises. But
yeah.
what are you gonna do?
Well, it's interesting because like part of the comedy, they're watching Scream again. There is so much to fucking make fun of for a parody like this.
Yes,
because
it's iconic.
Yes, it's such a great movie. Obviously, it's one of our favorite movies ever. But like the like fucking sex stuff in Scream, the sex stuff in Scream is so nasty, gross, disgusting. And then they just go, let's go even worse. In the Scary Movie, let's make you feel really bad as a woman. And yeah, holy shit. Doesn't surprise me that Weinstein's involved in both.
What? That's crazy, girl. Yeah, I mean, it is Scream in many ways. They were talking about this in the oral history. The MPAA, who does ratings and stuff, really did not want to give Scream an R rating. They wanted to give it an NC-17 rating. And they had to like really argue and push back and like cut 7 frames from the opening and then be like, oh, we can't do a different, less bloody shot for this part because we only filmed Drew Barrymore running in slow-mo. We don't have alternate footage. And then they like cut some of the scene at the end when Billy and Stu are stabbing each other so that they could like keep more of the opening. Like there was a lot of negotiations going on. And the way that they were able to get away with as much as they did was by reminding the critics that this is in many ways a parody film and a spoof film. So the comedy aspect allows them to do more than they would be allowed to do if the critics and the people in charge of that were looking at them as a straight horror film. And so it was so referential of all the horror movies that came before. It was so in conversation with them that it's so interesting to have another movie that's like taking on that and is in conversation with that. Yeah, it's so, I mean, they fucking nail it sometimes. Like in the cafeteria scene in Scary Movie, first of all, I love that they do the exact dialogue that's like, oh, you tried to pin him as the Candyman or whatever, and then Shorty is like, this is the same dialogue, but I never saw how that movie ended. And but like the part where she runs away, like her little flapping arms as she runs away, why do that in Scream? Like it's so funny.
I think specifically, I love the comparison of the Carmen Electra opening and the Drew Barrymore opening. Like,
I love the names they give everybody in Scary Movie too, like Drew Decker,
right?
So fucking funny. And then the fact that
Bobby Prince,
yeah, and also like the character who's supposed to Shannon Elizabeth's character is Buffy because she was played by Sarah Michelle Gellar in. I Know You Did Last Summer. Who is Buffy? Like all this fucking stupid
Buffy
little
Gilmore.
Shit.
Buffy Gilmore.
It's so funny. But the beginning of both movies are so fucking iconic. Obviously, you're talking about the gore part. I was messaging the Discord and I was like, I forgot how fucked the Scream opening is because it's there's fucking innards. There's innards
Yeah,
on innards.
there are
on
innards on the Outards.
Yeah.
There's a lot of innards on the Outers. They're hanging.
We've
They
got
look
an
like
innie
ropes. That's
and an
not a rope.
outie.
It's an innard. Steve, you're seeing all the inside of him. I forgot. And we don't usually get like I just forgot this is an R-rated movie that is so fucking
R-rated.
visceral.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's all in that beginning part too, the rest of the kills, like nothing else even gets
Yeah.
close. Nothing else
Well,
even gets close.
there was so much that they were trying to accomplish with the beginning because they really wanted the shock factor, obviously, of like killing off the main big star, blah, blah, blah. We've talked about
Mhm.
that. Obviously, that is like such a famous part of Scream.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it also just like
Iconic.
kind of, well, I can't speak to all of TV history or whatever, but I feel like it kind of predated the cold open of a lot of like crime shows and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, didn't SVU, I mean, regular Law and Order probably already started, but SVU I think started like a year or two later because I remember talking about that on the Lake Placid episode. But that scene is like 13 minutes long, which is long for any kind of cold open, and it's because they really just wanted you to
Think it
get
was the
so
movie.
invested in her and think that she was gonna survive this horrible brutal attack and be the main character, and she gets so close to doing that, and then they just like absolutely rip the rug out from under your feet and go, yeah, so
JK.
now you know
So
exactly,
she's dead. Here's a new bitch. It's
you know the
Sydney.
level of fucked that things are gonna get, you know how crazy these killers are, and I want you to feel that level of fear and shock this whole movie, and they just like they nailed that tone. But it's so funny because Scary Movie came out not just after Scream and not just after I Know What You Did Last Summer, but after Scream 2 and I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. And they like reference both of those sequels in little bits too. And obviously in Scream 2, we see that little bit of stab where it's like they kind of like sex it up a little and she's like about to get in the shower. She's wearing her robe. And so it's so interesting to see Scary Movie have that take on it, and like their version of the slow-mo scene is like, yeah, why is she running in slow-mo? Let's make it sexy slow-mo. That's what slow-mo's all about, baby. And it's like like her boob implant being pulled out with the knife is one of
That
the moments
shit-
that stayed with me from cable TV.
It's so fucking funny. And then like there's also just so many moments in the actual Scream movie where you're like, Drew, what the fuck are you doing, babe? Like Casey, sorry. Wait, is it Casey? Oh my god.
Yeah, it's Casey.
Yeah, Casey.
Okay.
It's
Casey,
Drew in the Scary Movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Drew Decker in Scary Movie, and it's Casey. I'm over here at Casey today, and I'm also wearing my Casey earrings today.
So meta.
let me-
Whoa.
Leg.
Monica got these for me.
Her.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, she does so many stupid things. She's on the phone the whole time. She never fucking calls 911. Like that really stuck out to me this time. She's scared. I get it.
He
There's a
said
lot
he
going
got
on.
her if she hung up again, Monica.
I know,
Obviously,
but
he gets
still,
her
she's
anyway. So maybe she
holding
could
the
have
thing.
tried. Yeah.
She's holding the thing right there, right then and there. And then she also like stops while she's running a few times because she's overwhelmed. And like that's why she dies, because like she just stops. And so it was just so funny with how they parodied that in the Carmen Electra scene, like having the signs that says like safety this way, death this way, and she chooses the death thing. And then when she's running and she trips into the like chalk around her,
oh, I love that bit.
When
But I
she's
also
sexy
love-
in the water, the wet t-shirt scene.
Even before that, when she's by the door and she looks down and she has like a table full of weapons to choose from and she picks the banana. That was not a scene that I remembered, but I loved it. And I actually, I'm going to defend her for a moment here. She's running a lot, so she needs potassium. You know what I mean? You don't want to get cramped up.
What
you don't
if
want to
she
get
got
cramped
a
up. That's how
Charlie horse?
you slow down. Yeah, that's how you get caught,
Exactly.
actually. So did you think about that?
No one's thinking about that except for Carmen Electra. Thank God.
Except for Carmen
And
Electra.
Chelsea.
She's on it. Yeah.
Chelsea.
And that's because I'm just so in tune to those two opening characters.
She
but
just
I just
really gets it.
there are just so many funny moments. There's so many little weird things, and there's so many like random little jokes that they just do for that have nothing to do with anything. Like the
They start
Prince
this
joke
movie-
in the beginning.
They start this movie
The
with
Prince
the fart joke.
is hilarious.
Oh, I
because
love the fart joke though.
The fart joke
Yes.
is amazing. The art of the fart joke has been lost. Every time there was a fart joke in this movie, I was like, yeah,
Fart
more
jokes are
fart
always
jokes,
funny.
less fucking racism, please. Jesus Christ.
Less
I
jokes
was like
about
grabbing onto the
roofies,
fart
but
jokes
more
for dear
jokes
life.
about farts. Yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing. The Prince joke is really funny because I'm pretty sure Carmen Electra dated in real life Dennis Rodman, who like always dressed up like
and
as,
wore makeup.
and would like dress up like kind of as a woman, but like not like, know what I mean? And so
But
that
he's still
was
doing his thing. Yeah, he's just
But-
cunty.
Well,
so that was a reference, and then it was Prince, and she was like, "Oh, not him.
Not
I mean,
him,
we fucked
yeah.
a couple times, but that's not my boyfriend. Will get you, and he's black, so."
but
So-
she literally did like have a relationship with Prince.
Yeah,
So yeah,
but
But that's not who
we
she's
fucked a
talking
couple
about right
times. But that's it.
different. That lookalike guy, I thought was actually Prince for a second. I was like, is Prince in this?
Did
But it's
they
like
get
a
Prince
Michael
Prince in
Jackson.
part of this.
It's a
He
man
was
who
in
was
New
Michael
Girl.
Jackson impersonator. But I was like, that really looked like Prince to me because it's so quick. It's not Prince.
Mhm.
Sorry, Prince. Disrespectful to think you'd be
R.I.P.
in Scary
Prince.
Movie. R.I.P. Prince. I'm so sorry. But yeah, that opener. Whoa. Two iconic openers, equal in design. clout.
Equal.
Equals.
I'm sorry. One of the funniest bits in the entire thing for me, though, is like it's so devastating in Scream when she can see her mommy and her daddy, and they're literally 5 feet away, and she goes,
Mhm.
but she's just been
Yeah.
choked out, and so she
Oh my
can't.
god.
It's devastating. It's so sad. It's so scary that she can, and it's so sad for her family that they were so close to saving her. And then in
Mhm.
this fucking movie, they make it. There's so much roadhead in this movie. They
There's
make
so
There
much.
is.
It's crazy
so
how
much
much Roadhead is in this movie.
I feel like this movie made us believe that Roadhead was like way more prevalent in adult lives.
I
But
really hope
also
that people
really
aren't doing roadhead
dangerous.
that much.
Seems
So
really
then he killed his
dangerous.
daughter. He
Right, he
precipitated
died.
the death of his daughter.
Mhm. And also the one that comes later is involved in a death too. So like it's really a cautionary tale.
If you
I'm sorry.
do Roadhead, you will kill
Someone's gonna
somebody.
die. Someone's gonna die.
Someone will die. How can you possibly be paying
It's not
attention
safe.
to the
It's
road?
not safe for the road.
It's
That's
the road
that's
is not
true,
safe.
actually. You know what? Thank you, Wayne's family, for spreading that message because that's important for all of us to remember.
Okay. With how racist this movie is, it does make me feel like 1 ounce better that it was written by the Wayans brothers. It makes me feel like one little itty teeny bit better.
Yeah,
and I just
It was written by
I
two Wayne's brothers and other people, and it was directed by one Wayne's
And-
brother as well.
Yeah.
yes. Sean and Marlon wrote it with Buddy Johnson. Maybe there's more writers, and then
There's
Keenan,
6 writers credited. 2
Oh,
were like,
Phil Bowman, Jason Friedberg, and Aaron Seltzer. There you go, other writers. Get
yeah,
your
I think
shine.
the last 2 you said, Jason and Aaron, were like the 2 originally connected to the script before the Wayans family got involved. And I think that their original title was like Scream If You Know What I Did Last Halloween or something like that. And then the Wayans family had also been working on a
Similar type of thing.
yeah, it was like I don't know. It was like something similar where that was like a crazy long title. And then when it became part of the Dimension family, they were like, don't worry, we've got the perfect title for it. And then it's actually a huge like
Simplicity is best.
yeah, the script ended up basically just being like by Marlon and Sean Wayans and those 2 other writers that they were working with, and then the other
Mhm.
2 writers were just like contractually still obligated to be credited, and then they went on to do like a bunch of other parody movies like Epic Movie and Date Movie and stuff down the road, and
And
so
dance. Oh, sorry. Are you talking about the
And-
Wayans or the other 2 guys?
no, the other 2 guys.
Oh, okay. Sorry. The other 2
Balloons.
guys. Balloons. Yeah. The other 2 guys.
Yeah, and so they were like by 2 of the creators of Scary Movie, and the Wayans brothers were just like, okay. But you know, it went through a lot of different iterations before we got what we got in the movie.
I am obsessed with the Wayans brothers.
Yeah, I
yeah,
love
well,
them.
they're very funny. They're very funny.
They're so fucking funny. Also, Sean Wayans in this movie is so fucking hot. I'm sorry.
Yes.
He's
As
really
Ray,
hot. Yeah.
He's so
Yeah,
hot.
he is
It's
incredibly
crazy.
hot.
He's
His thing where
incredibly
he
hot.
does, where he's like, "Does this tank top make me look gay?" And then he's like, "No." And then he does the whole little thing where
He
they
like Britney Spears is it.
Mhm.
and he's like, "What
I
about
don't
now?"
know. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, you're fine. And I'm like, "Yes,
Mhm.
yes."
It's like, where
yes.
did I get that? Oh my god. He's so beautiful.
Can I tell you something funny about the end of this movie that didn't end up being the end of this movie?
The Mooney?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us.
The end
Tell
of
me
this
about the
movie.
Mooney.
There are, as you might know, many children in the Wayans family. I think there's like 6 or 8 total.
dang.
And there are 3 involved with this movie: Marlon and Sean and Keenan Ivory. But Damon Wayans is also very famous. You may or may not have watched My Wife and Kids. I watched a lot of My Wife and Kids growing up. But he was going to be the Ghostface killer at the end of the movie, and it was going to be like a meta joke about how like his brothers hadn't included him in this movie, and so like he was the killer. And then like from what I read, he just schedules didn't allow for that, as it turned out, so they like went a different direction. And I don't know exactly the lore behind that or how true any of that is, because in one of the articles that I read, the actor who plays the real killer, why am I preserving the spoiler? I don't know, but I am. This scary movie spoiler that's 24 years old. That actor said he only wanted to do his character if he could also be the killer. So
I only
again,
want
I'm
him
not
to do his
sure.
character if he can be the
Yeah.
killer, to be clear.
Yeah, he's so hot.
Well, yes, he is incredibly hot, but also like my soul needed the
also-
ending to be the ending that it was. My soul
Yeah.
needed that real bad.
To be like,
Seriously.
actually, that wasn't a realistic, authentic portrayal that we were trying to do. I mean, none of them are. It is a comedy parody movie, but also it was tough to stomach.
The implications of that plot line in general.
Yeah,
with,
we're bad.
Gale Hailstorm.
Storm.
Gale
Gale
Hailstorm.
Swallows.
Gale Swallows. I'm dressed up as Gale today. In case you didn't know, I had to take off the jacket because I was sweating
Too hot,
profusely.
too
I'm
hot.
wearing 2 jackets, but I'm not Gale Hailstorm. To be clear, I'm Gale Weathers. I do not want to be
Monica's
associated
Gale
with Gale Hailstorm.
Swallows, actually.
Okay, here's the thing about Gale Hailstorm. How come in a parody movie her fashion was toned down from the original? You have to
Right.
go bigger. You have to go crazier.
It looked stupid. Yeah, I didn't love her. Also, they fucking did Stu so GD fucking dirty in this, because basically you could argue that Sean Wayans' character Ray is the Stu, which he is in a lot of ways, but he's also Ray, and he's
Yeah.
really giving
Mhm.
Ray vibes also, like from I Know
Yeah.
What You Did Last Summer. But there is a scene when you first meet Gale Hailstorm, and there's this guy standing behind her, and like when she's doing a broadcast, and he's like, I don't know, thrusting and doing fucking stupid shit that boys do when they're on camera with the news or whatever. And she's like, 1 teen was killed, and then she's like, fuck it, shoots him, and she's like, 2 teens were killed. Very, very funny, very funny. That guy is wearing Stu's literal exact outfit. He has the necklace, he has the shirt, he has the same pattern shirt. Like, that was Stu. And they just
And they
shot
said
him
he's
dead.
dead now. Don't
They
ask
said
about him.
shot-
Bang, bang, bang.
I was so mad. I was so mad because I also had just been commenting to myself while watching Scream, thinking, God, that's a fucking hot outfit on Matthew Lillard.
That's because
and then they dress him in that outfit and shoot him. How dare they? It is, that was totally him though, because he was being a goofy fucking doofus irreverent asshole in that scene, and that's who Stu is. Love him to death. He has layers.
Speaking of
but
Stu,
that's
can
how
we
he does
just
it.
wax poetic about how hot Matthew Lillard is in this
He's
movie?
very hot. Yeah. Yeah, he's very
so
hot.
Also, we haven't gone on the record to talk about the new things that are going on with Matthew Lillard. So let's just really quickly talk about that. Our official position as Spooky Tuesday is that we are very excited for his horror cake show.
Yes.
What's
Yes.
it called? I can't remember right now. Matthew Lillard
Googling.
cake. Oh, that could be the.
And
Oh,
it's just
I'm
like
not
pictures
getting
of
what I
his
wanted.
butt.
Killer cakes. Killer cakes. That's what it's called.
We'll review it on Patreon
Yes,
I'm
I would
down
love
for
to
that.
do that.
because I would love to
fucking do
watch that and then talk to you.
Are you kidding me? That sounds amazing. We'll just swap out trailer reactions sometimes and
For
do
us watching
reviews
these.
this week on Killer Cakes. Honestly, we might do that. But anyway, wow. Everyone keeps messaging me about it like every day for the last week, and they're
I
like, "What do
know.
you think? You haven't said what you thought." And I was like, "Here's what we think."
I
we
think it's great. I
Here's
think it's
the
wonderful.
official Spooky Tuesday take on.
This is what we
Oh,
think. This is what we think.
Wow.
This is what we
Okay.
think.
Sparks are
That's
flying.
serious.
Yeah. But yeah, he's so sexy. He's so sexy. And also this time around watching it, like the vibes between Billy and Stu
are
they're
so-
so
Yeah.
strong.
Well,
that
that
one
is
scene
one
when they're around the
thing-
fountain,
Mhm.
and they're like calling their own bluffs. Not calling their own bluffs. They're like leaving too many hints that it's them. He's being too cavalier.
I'm not the killer. Nobody said you were the
Were.
killer. Thanks,
And they're making
man.
eyes at each other. And I was
Oh,
like,
yeah,
those are
it's so good.
romance eyes. Those are romance eyes. They're like, don't get us caught because then we can't run away together. That's what they did.
Yeah. Well, okay, here's the thing about Scary Movie. Is it problematic? Yeah. And is its queer portrayals not necessarily positive representation?
Sure.
But they said I watched Scream and that was gay as hell, and I'm not going to pretend that it wasn't, and we're not going to wait 20 years to acknowledge that. We're talking about it right now.
But also, like,
Thank
it's
you.
so obvious.
It's so obvious.
That made me really happy. I loved that part of this movie. I was like, thank God. And then they try to do that weird shit where Ray's like, I'm not gay. I just let you suck my dick or whatever. And I was just like,
I
shut
think
up.
Ray is
shut
a
up.
very confident straight man who loves to get his dick sucked by other men and his brain fucked out of his skull by dicks. And that doesn't
I
mean
loved
he's
that part,
gay.
too.
It's up to him how he identifies.
He's bisexual.
It's called, okay?
He's a chaos bisexual.
Which honestly tracks.
Oh my god. It's so crazy. Yeah. I did almost throw up though with the doofy shit. I almost threw
Yeah,
threw
when
up
I
with
was
the
like
doofy shit.
watching Gail and Doofy, I was like, oh, I
Here's
don't
the
like
thing
this.
about
Oh.
Doofy. They are pulling a lot from Dewey.
Yeah,
they
they
are pulling
are.
a lot from Dewey.
That was like, this
They
is so
are
fucked
not
up, but
making
yeah,
something up. It is there, and they are taking it.
he's so bad at his job.
Yeah,
It's like he's so endearing. Like you love him. You love Dewey. We're talking about Dewey. We're not talking about Doofy. I don't want to talk about Doofy, but we have to. You love Dewey so much, but he's literally like, it's the night that everyone's gonna get murdered. Like his boss is like, by the way, we think the dad is coming back and he's gonna kill everyone because tomorrow is the anniversary of his wife's death. And he's like, hey, do you want to go on a romantic stroll to check out this lead?
You
You
want
wanna
to
walk?
stars?
You
I
want
have
to
a
walk
flashlight.
15 minutes? Do you want to walk 15 minutes down the road in the
To
middle
check
of
out
the
this
pitch black night?
abandoned car that might belong to the killer girl.
It's really romantic.
It is
Also,
romantic, and they're in love.
Doofy keeps making this face where he's like, I don't even remember what face he's making because I didn't want it in my brain. But he keeps making this face that is just the slightest extension of a face that Dewey is making 75% of the time he's on camera in Scream. Dewey is just sitting there like that a lot of the time or whatever, and Doofy took it only a little bit farther, honestly. Really not that much farther than it already is. Which is part of why we've talked about this before, where we're like, is Dewey hot? Is Dewey not hot? And I was like, for me, some of my problem is I can't separate it from what I conflate with Doofy from watching Scary Movie.
I can separate it, and I do think he is hot, but I think that it would never work out between us because I'd be so frustrated. And again, I'm talking about Dewey. I'm
Mhm.
not talking about Dewey.
Dewey, they
also-
specifically undercut him 1,000 times. I mean, like, they'd have Tatum calling him a dumbass or whatever she calls him in the station, like, obviously talking down to him in front of all of his colleagues, blah, blah, blah. But also they have that moment where he's talking to his boss and his boss is smoking a cigarette. And part of that is there so that his boss can stamp out the cigarette and we can go, Boots like the killer. But they're contrasting it with him eating like a pink ice cream cone the whole time. Like, it's very silly. It's very silly.
Yeah, no, he's acting like a fool because he is a fool. He was like, I just am gonna need a second, girls. Don't worry, hold on. Like, I think he's doing like some official business, and then he's got a fucking ice cream cone. Like,
Okay,
come on, boy.
I don't know if this will relate with Chelsea, but Monica, this should relate to you. I was watching Scary Movie
no.
and the sheriff in Scary Movie, I was like, who is this actor?
Oh yeah.
Who is
He's in
it?
everything.
He is the therapist in Evil.
Yes,
That's
that's
who
who
he
it
is.
is.
He's the therapist
I
in
was like,
Evil.
I love this guy in something. Oh my god, he was great. He was great in
But
Scary
I
Movie.
like, as soon as that like realization hit me, I was just like, I cannot see anything else. I was like, oh
No.
my god.
Also, I just want to say for the record, when I was giving my list of all of the bad things that Scary Movie is, I didn't say ableist and I didn't say fat phobic. So
yeah,
I just wanted to
both
add
of
those.
those
to
things.
It's
the
an
list.
incomplete list. Don't worry.
It was an incomplete
It's got
list.
everything
We'll
going
be
on.
adding to it, so don't think we forgot that it's the most ableist thing I've seen in a really long time.
Yeah.
And
It
specifically
was
the fat
very like
phobia
Tropic
stuff, though.
Thunder in that way. Did you ever see Tropic
Which
Thunder?
part of I
I did it.
unfortunately really liked parts of that movie and literally didn't like
So
parts of
look,
that movie.
some of it is funny. But they have what's his face, Zoolander, Ben Stiller, his character had done a movie where he played someone with an intellectual disability. And then there was the whole discourse, the whole movie about how you never go, I won't say the terms that they use, obviously, but you never go all the way is what they were saying.
I remember it. So
Yeah, and they really go all the way in this movie, but again, they walk it back and they go, that's not really what that looks like. That's just one character's interpretation of a facade he's putting on to throw everybody off. So actually, if you believed that, that's a mirror of what you think about people. So look inwards.
Scary Movie is really holding up a mirror to
Holding up a
society.
mirror to
How
society.
dare
Yeah, they're saying,
You're
Hold on,
horrified. We did this
look
because
at
of
yourself.
you.
Look at yourself.
Look at yourself in your
I'm
murder
starting with the man in the mirror. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was what actually that was for you to reflect on.
Yeah.
And I will say some of that kind of humor, not that specifically, but some of that humor is very funny, and the race stuff is very funny for the most part in this movie. And again, that is, I'm sure, because it was written by Black people who are aware of what they're satirizing in the media, as opposed to people unintentionally playing into stereotypes, so that they have like this awareness and this wittiness about it. And the way that they are deploying it is so funny in so many ways. When Anna Faris is calling the police on the computer, and she's like, "White woman in trouble," and they show up
That was immediately
like,
that was
400
so
cops.
funny.
Yeah,
That was
and
so
in the
funny.
beginning,
I also loved
when they're
with
doing the news people,
and they're like, we're the Black news source. We're getting the fuck out of here.
white people are dying. We're getting the fuck out of here. Yeah,
they're smart and they survived the movie.
Mhm.
Yeah,
There's a lot of funny stuff in here.
There's some very funny stuff in here. And then there's stuff that goes way too fucking far. Why? I really want to love what's his name? Marlon Wayans' character, Shorty.
Yeah.
And he's so funny throughout this. Like, I love how like the stoner trope or whatever is so funny. But his fucking interview with
if you
Denise
miss that
in the
little
very
bit,
beginning,
he's so lovable. But if you
so lovable,
pay attention
but
to that bit, it really is a reminder
like,
of
do we
how
need to-
trash things can
need
be.
to throw in a fucking roofie joke here. We
Yeah,
don't. We didn't know.
right.
No, we really
I
don't
pulled my
actually
tongue
have
out of her ass and I left. Okay, thank you
Okay.
for letting us know exactly what was going on while she was unconscious. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that I love that there's so much ass play in this movie, but I wish it was
Yeah,
all
that's
consensual.
beautiful.
We
No,
need
I would say none of it is
consensual ass
consensual
play.
actually
Yeah.
in the film.
Unfortunately, it is very, very funny 1 minute later when it's like, what would your last words to her have been? And he's like, run, bitch, run. Like, yeah.
So fucking funny. Also, I have to say, really funny. He's like, "Wow, I'm so famous these days. First Cops, now this." I've never really watched Cops though. I've just watched that one episode of X Files when they're
Parodying.
heroing cops. Yeah.
Mm.
But it's a funny joke.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Lots of parody stuff this episode. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Who
I
could have
mean,
predicted?
crazy.
like the
Who would have
whole thing,
thought?
yeah.
That's kind of crazy, guys.
I just love Anna Faris so much. Is it Anna?
Anna Faris. Yeah, I looked
Anna
up
Faris?
and I had to do a refresher also on Nev Campbell's name because I
Oh
was
my
doubting myself
God.
again.
I
was
cannot
like, let me
believe that is
throw it
not
back.
burned into your brain.
It's one of those things where it's like I know that I'm wrong.
That's her name.
And so I just have no confidence. Whatever I'm gonna say, whatever I think it is probably wrong. And it's when I've learned the right way and I've put in time to learn the right way, it is a sabotage because it's like you couldn't possibly be right. You dumb bitch. You publicly embarrassed yourself on the first episode of this podcast. You couldn't possibly have it right.
Baby.
But
I did the same thing with Sydney's birthday the other day. I was like, her birthday couldn't be on the 24th. It's on the 27th because I always say
She always does that.
and it's on the 24th to be clear. So I double checked myself now. Oh,
but yeah,
God.
it's Anna Faris and it's Nev Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
Anna Faris is my queen.
This was like her first ever role. Like she showed up on set and they were like, okay, action. And she's like, okay, do I say my lines now? And they're like, girl, yeah. What do you think? Like that's what action means. And she's like, literally, this is my very first role. I don't fucking know. Like they plucked her out of obscurity because she sent in self-tapes. She had her mom film one, and then she had to do a second one that was raunchy. So she said, okay, I actually don't want mommy to film this one. And she went to her neighbors and said, hey, can you film this for me so that my mom doesn't have to? And they just like, they loved her like naivety and like innocence that came through in her performance. But like, it is crazy that this is her first role because she fucking nails it. She's amazing.
Yeah, she absolutely crushes it.
So fucking
Her
funny.
Comic timing is unmatched.
Unmatched.
It's unmatched.
It's wild,
like,
actually.
That like face she makes when she's like not getting something is just like so iconic. You okay, girl?
She's dying.
She's dying. But
I'm gonna die publicly on this episode, just like in the movie.
Oh.
Our 200th and
Referenced.
final episode.
You saw it here, folks.
Oh my God, though. She really is always doing something that's connected to some problematic shit. It's not her. It's just comedy in the 2000s. But it's like, what is she known for? The House Bunny? Okay, fine. Scary Movie? Okay, we know. Scary Movie 4? Okay, we know. And then Just Friends, which is that Ryan Reynolds fat suit movie.
Yeah.
That movie.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Again, it's just early 2000s comedy. I love House Bunny, though.
Oh, House Bunny.
That's
legitimately.
okay. When
is
I was
good.
researching how to say her name, the video from her was like an ad for something, whatever. But she's like, this is how you can remember it. On a fair. Like she did the House Bunny thing. So
That's so funny. Oh,
yeah.
she's so good. I can't believe this was her first role.
unrelated to either of these movies, but related to Anna. It's not Anya Taylor-Joy. It's Anna Taylor-Joy.
I'm not ready to accept that at this time.
that. I know you shut the fuck up about that.
We'll come back to that on another episode. I need time to process.
Imagine I'm with you right now.
We'll put a pigeon pin in that one. We'll come back.
Lightly touching your lips, saying, "No, honey, it's okay." What?
There's only
me?
so much
We've
that
done
we can
so
take
many
in
movies
one
with her.
day.
Why hasn't anyone said anything? No one knows. I don't think anyone knows about that. You heard it here first.
She's made a
Breaking
couple
news.
comment about it in like recent interviews. And now that she's married to a man from, Alabama, I feel like I gotta be vocal about it. I must use my platform.
She's a girl now. Yeah, you have to stand up for her. That's
Bama
beautiful,
man.
Sydney. Thank you for being
you.
a brave voice and bringing a light to this important issue.
so
I will circle back at another time. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy that this is Anna Faris's first and breakout role when it like she's not even the middle person on the poster. You know what I mean? Like Shannon Elizabeth was one of the most famous people involved with this at the time, and she's the center
she's not
on the poster. She's like in the back on the side.
That's Carmen
doing, like, a
Electra.
little...
She's not in it from the poster I'm looking at on IMDb.
Oh, okay, I've seen a couple different posters. And in the one that she's on, she's like in the back left doing like a little winky face. Like she's not centered at all.
Maybe there's a zoom out one that's not the IMDb one.
There's like two.
But you're right. Looking at the IMDb one, she's not on it at all. Like it's so.
That's
she's
the one
so the
that
face of this franchise. Her and Regina Hall.
I love Regina Hall. But
yeah,
that was
it's so crazy.
Who's the other guy?
Go ahead, you speak.
Oh no, that was who's supposed to be Barry. That's Greg. I was like, who is that?
Lachlan Marlowe or something like that.
Yeah.
What else is he in? Because I couldn't
like
believe
fucking
he was
everything.
In this.
He's in White Chicks with the Wayans brothers. So he's in that.
Oh my God. He I thought was Lachlan Monroe. That's how you spell Lachlan. LOCHLYN. Never in my life could I ever have anticipated that. Anyway,
continue. I feel like he plays a dad in something. Does he play Betty's dad on Riverdale?
Yes,
he
does. That's
yeah. That's why I remember his face so. I watched his entire character arc. I watched every episode of Riverdale with him.
I love Riverdale.
I fell off
unfortunately.
He's
I know
also
a lot
Totally
about
Killer,
that.
which is fun, and we should do Totally Killer at some point. But he's been in a ton of stuff. He's one of those guys.
And Freddy versus Jason.
Ooh.
He's a horror king.
Well, there you go.
Okay,
there you go. But yeah, it is so crazy
and irreverent comedy king.
It's crazy that Regina Hall and Anna Faris are so unbelievably the faces of this franchise, and they were not at all like the lead marketing for this first movie. It's so wild to see that evolution over time because they are both such iconic parts of it, and they just like I guess were relatively, Anna Faris especially was completely unknown, but they were just relatively unknown starting out. They were so not the draw, but they are the moment.
Right? They are the moment, and they are the people that I think of when I think of the Scary Movie franchise. They are so iconic. But I will give Shannon Elizabeth her shine because one, gorgeous, love her, always a joy to see her around.
Star of the movie Cursed, love that as well.
Star of the movie Cursed, yes. But I really did love her death scene.
Her death is another one of those moments that was just like imprinted on my brain, lived in there. That was so iconic to me watching when I was younger. I stored that away for sure.
Here's my thing.
When she breaks her own leg, I almost throw up every time. And this is not actually a scary movie, but that shit, compound fractures, you can leave me with
horrifying.
that. I do not want that.
When her death was happening and her head gets like chopped off, but she is still yapping and negging and stuff, I looked at Taylor and I go, that will be me when I die. You think death is gonna shut me up, bitch. Never.
Mhm. Yeah.
They
yeah.
literally severed her vocal cords. No,
No,
nothing
no.
can stop
It was
her.
like I turned to Taylor and I go, "This is me," and he goes, "That's you," and I was like, "Correct."
Mhm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's just such a good part of the movie so ridiculous in Scream that Tatum is being like, "Oh, please don't kill me, Mr. Ghostface. I want to be in the sequel." Like, it is so silly in that movie. Obviously,
So
it
silly.
makes sense with what she thinks is happening.
And with her character, because she's such
and
a
with her
little spicy,
character.
like shooting out lines kind of bitch, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's like it's so ripe for additional parody, and they do it so well where it's like she's being so over the top in Scary Movie. She's being like, "Oh, is this the part where I beg for my life? Oh, is this the part where I bleed? Oh, is this the part where my leg breaks and I run away and blah blah blah?" Like, and then literally
And
she
Ghostface
dies, and
is
she's
like,
just
I
like,
guess.
Yeah, sure.
That's the funniest part to
right.
me. Ghostface is like, okay, like just so you know, you're doing this to yourself now.
I'm literally not
stopped.
asking you. Yeah, I stabbed you one time, and I'm shocked that you're still going. And it is also so funny when she's like, "Oh, is this the climax? Do you mind if I fake it?" Like, that's a very funny joke.
That was
That's
really
some
funny.
very good comedy writing.
Yeah.
And the way her head just keeps going. I love it. I love that scene. I filed it away.
Had to throw her head away, and she's still yapping.
Put it in the lost and found.
Do you
Okay.
ever just feel seen? You know,
Yes.
that's how Sydney and I felt. That's how the three of us felt.
Also, just the fact that it took place in a locker room felt like the faculty was present with us in that moment. It was another one of the movies that they weren't directly riffing on, but was just a little.
Represented.
They blew a little kiss. Yeah.
But also too,
Yeah.
you heard a little red rum, which is why she went to go like look around in the locker room, and then you
I missed-
saw Ghostface.
I read about that and I missed it both times when I watched it. I'm pissed that I missed it.
One of my favorite things that referenced I Know What You Did Last Summer and not Scream was when they're like walking out of the school and there is a man on the roof and he's like threatening to jump off the roof. And then Sydney and like all their friends come out and she's just like, "What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for?" And then he jumps off the roof. He's like,
had to make a mockery. They had to make a mockery of suicide, of course. They couldn't let that lie. No,
why would you?
Of course
No.
not.
But
they'd hit all the other
so
boxes.
funny.
Jesus Christ.
It's very
and she
funny.
says it like 15 times too.
So
Mhm.
good.
She just keeps going. Yeah. And then he's like, "What am I waiting for?" I
She's
also just
wearing like
love-
the exact same sweater set as I Know You Did Last Summer, by the way.
She
Love
looks
that detail.
so fucking cute in it. Also, she looks so cute this
Yeah.
whole movie. But the way they introduce it too, because again, the beginning of Scary Movie is so explicitly directly Scream, and you don't know necessarily right away that they're also doing I Know What You Did Last Summer until they're at the fountain and they're doing the fountain scene and they're like, "But does anybody think it's weird that this happened on the same anniversary as when we killed that guy?" And then they do the flashback. It's so fun. Actually, okay, something about that scene, when what's his name? Something Felipe, the guy who's being buried.
Ryan Felipe.
Yeah, when he is like choking her in that scene, it is crazy to me that Bobby in Scary Movie is doing more to defend Cindy than Ray was doing to defend Julie James in actual I Know What You Did Last Summer. He was doing nothing, basically. He was going, stop it. But that was more than Ray was doing. So that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me.
Is insane. Yeah.
But it's so funny the way that they work it in. And it's so funny when she's like in class and she gets the note and it's like, "I know what you did last Halloween." And she has the flashback of like feeding him a little treat and then him like trying to make her deep throat a hot dog
again. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the second note and it's like, "No, bitch, when you killed that guy." Like it is very funny. And
so fucking
Ghostface
funny.
having the hook too, I just think is like a fun way to marry both
It's a
things.
perfect amalgamation. And it also is super meta because everyone was saying that I Know You Did Last Summer was a ripoff of Scream, even though we all know, everyone here and everyone listening knows that that's not the case. And it was a separate Kevin Williamson property.
Written first.
Written first. But it just, that just made it all the more perfect. It just made it all the more
I wonder what
beautiful.
Kevin Williamson thinks of Scary Movie.
Oh my
Kevin
God.
Williamson, please tell us your thoughts.
Kevin
That-
Williamson,
this
would you like to
movie
go on the
is his-
record?
It's his sleep paralysis demon. It's just this film in general.
But yeah, I mean, I also just love that moment when it's like she sees him out the window and then she looks away for a second and we see him like scramble behind the tree before she looks back, because that is so much of what happens in Scream is they like pop up for a second in the grocery store or whatever and then like nothing happens, or like he's by a bush for 1 second. Like these bitches are real people. They can't really disappear in 1 second. They are scrambling. We're just not seeing it.
Yeah, it's funny, and everyone always points out with Scream that like they're kind of clumsy, like he falls down and blah, blah blah blah, and they just like do parody of that here. I love when they're like, "Yeah, it's where I am in the house," and she's like, "I can see you. You're behind the couch.
His little
Your
wiggly feet.
Your little feetsies are sticking out a little bit." I think that is hilarious.
And he's like, okay, well, close your eyes. No peeking. Just don't look. I'm going to hide again. Like, it's very funny. Okay, but
Back
one of the
to
best.
I Know What You Did Last Summer thing really quickly though. The way that they kill that man in the actual movie and I Know What You Did Last Summer is incredibly stupid. Like he is still alive. They hit him in the car. He's still alive, and then they drown him. Okay. And it's like, how could you not realize that he is still alive? You know, you're holding his body in your arms. So I just thought the way they parodied it is so funny. How he's like, "No, I'm good. No, I'm actually
fine. We
I'm
don't need to
actually
dispose of
fine."
the body at all. Nobody needs to call the police. We're good, and I'll just wander off. And they're like, no,
So
he has to be dead.
fucking.
They throw the bottle, and then they smash him with the car hood.
So fucking perfect.
There's just so much going on. I wish he had done the woozy little fall that Ryan Felipe does, and I Know What You Did Last Summer, because that's one of my favorite moments in that scene in the actual movie. I think it's so funny. And I can't believe that they didn't take the opportunity to make fun of it when given one. But they
were
that
too
shot.
focused on the micro penis. Sorry.
They were too focused on the micro penis and on roadhead and on butt play. So, you know, look, they can't hit every mark, okay? They're already a very ambitious film.
I don't know. I mean, they hit all the phobias, all the racism.
They sure did. All
the isms and all the
That's why it's funny though. Unfortunately, we're just too PC now.
It was the year 2000. And it was offensive for the year 2000. It was offensive for the year. It was offensive when it came out. But,
yeah,
you know, it's not that offensive humor is completely off limits. It's that you have to land a joke and you have to not have hate in your heart.
When you're
and I believe that this movie did not have hate in its heart. They just were taking every shot that they could.
They were like, what are all of the things that will upset people in some regard? Make a list and then make sure you incorporate all of them with increasing extremity.
I need a checklist and I need you to check everything off. Yeah.
No fucked up thing left behind. Okay. If there's a type of person that exists and you haven't offended them yet, you're not doing your job.
They'll call out fucked things in other properties though too, like that white Jamaican guy, and I still know what you did last summer. Like,
that was
they're
so
also
funny.
like, why was Jack Black there with white people dreads?
Okay, that's what because I didn't get that I didn't think about how I Still Know had already come out, and so when they said that, I just was like, what are they talking about? I was so confused, and thank you, it was Jack Black. If they just said Jack Black, then I would have known. Come on.
Yeah, it's interesting because we have a very clear Sydney from Scream and Billy from Scream Parallel, and then we have some amalgamations. Like, it's pretty clear that Lachlan Monroe and Shannon Elizabeth are doing Ryan Felipe and Sarah Michelle Gellar. But then you have, like, he's Bobby Prince, so he's kind of Freddie Prinze Jr., but also Ray is kind of Freddie Prinze Jr., but also Ray is kind of
but like not.
yeah, he's also like Carla's boyfriend in Tyson.
Yeah.
And I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, and like Brenda is kind of Carla, but she's also kind of like everybody's. It's getting a little confusing because they're like now pulling from
It's not
four
a 1
different
+ 1
movies.
equals
You know what I
2
mean?
situation.
Yeah. So it is interesting the way that everything gets stacked out. But I love how they make time and space for other horror movies as well. Like the Blair Witch Project
That's exactly
moment
what
is
I was just about to say. That's my
Mhm.
favorite part of the entire thing.
It's so good.
It's so good. The whole setup for that too, with Gail
Yeah.
Hailstorm being like, "I'm here at a lover's lane, and hopefully we'll
Mhm.
see a murder live." Like, it's just so funny because she really is like that. Like, Gail,
I love when she's like, "My book, I'm rich and you're not." Like,
not.
I want that.
No,
I'm
I'm
rich,
rich
you're
and
dead.
you're dead.
You're right. You're right. I'm rich and you're dead. Sydney has her Gail
based
Weathers
on the
t-shirt.
book, I'm rich,
Super
you're
yucky.
dead. By
I need you
Gail
to do
Hailstorm.
parody shirt. I need you to do Scary Movie Gail Hailstorm parody shirt because I need
Right.
both to be available.
I'm rich and you're dead by Gail Hailstorm.
I would get
So
that. I
fucking
would wear
I
that.
would wear that. It's so fast.
I need to know if I should get that Stu Macher mini skirt, by the way. I need y'all to
I
weigh
kinda
in.
want
I'll
one.
put it in the references.
I feel
The
like we
print
have
does
to get
not
one.
fit on the skirt, but like, because
Yeah.
there's text from the image
Mhm.
that's kind of on it. But
It's
I
the
don't,
kind of
I don't think
thing-
I
yeah.
care. I don't think I care. I think it makes it avant-garde. We'll
Sure,
put that
sure.
link in the references so you can let us know
Yeah.
if we should get it.
But yeah, the
But
Blair Witch
yeah, the
Project
Blair
moment.
Witch. Oh my god, so funny that girl was like, what are you feeling right now as you're being stabbed? She's like, a lot of pain, actually. Could you help me? She's like, I
No.
would, but it's sweeps week. That joke was so funny to me. I missed it the first time. So good. But I love that it turned into Blair Witch. I didn't see that coming because I just didn't really look at the trailer. There's the Blair Witch little doodad, the little
Yeah,
stick
the little-
guy, the little stick thing is hanging from the A in Scary Movie, but it has little heart undie pants on it. Is that an American Pie reference? Maybe. I haven't seen American Pie.
Maybe Shannon Elizabeth is in that movie.
Yeah.
So that could be maybe what that's from. I don't know.
You've
I got
never
American Pie.
seen
vibes.
American Pie?
I've never seen American Pie.
Wow.
La 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 la. My
Wow.
parents would have never let me watch this shit as a kid. Never. Anything remotely like this, I never would have seen. If I saw it, it was years later and it was at a sleepover. Never would
Sure.
that cross the threshold of my home.
Well, relevant from IMDb trivia is it did say, and I am not sure what this would have looked like if it had come to fruition in the movie, but it did say that they wanted Jennifer Coolidge to play Mr. or Miss Man, and I don't know if she still would have had a hanging ball sack, but she is a star of the American Pie franchise, so
Yeah. That's Stifler's mom, baby.
Oh, okay. Good to know. See, yeah, that's extra confirmation. I was like, have I seen it? No, I didn't know that. So no, I have not seen it. I also was doing a deep dive recently about Sarah Michelle Gellar's career and everyone in Buffy's career after Buffy.
sure.
And I was looking at who plays Willow.
Allison
What's her
Hannigan.
name? Allison Hannigan. And I was like, that bitch has had a fucking career. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
She's been in iconic shit after iconic shit after iconic shit. And I was like, she was in American Pie.
Mhm.
Oh,
I
yeah.
did
She's
not
a
know.
big
She's
part
like
of
a
American
big
Pie.
part of American
Yeah.
Pie.
Sexually active band
Multiple
geeks,
movies.
She
baby.
put a flute in her panties.
Yep.
Wow. Spoiler.
Is that
Also,
band
okay,
camp? What are you gonna do?
just one more thing about Miss Man.
Mhm.
She just really cares about her girls.
She
sexual
does, and
health.
that's beautiful. Always
doesn't
wipe
want them
front
to
to
get a
back. That's
yeast
so
infection.
real.
If you shave off your pubes, that won't stop you from having crabs. That's important to know. People need to know about
Mhm.
that. And that's true.
All the tips that she gives are helpful.
They
Technically.
They're real
said this movie, first of all, we're holding up a mirror to your own ableism that you're bringing to this film, and this is a PSA for feminine
Women's
sexual
sexual
health.
health.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially
Also,
since
sorry.
Billy made fun, they did that bush joke. Like,
that was
Thank
another
you.
moment
I
burned
wanna
into
talk
my
about the book.
brain is the
Yeah.
bush joke.
I want to talk about the bush. I
when
want to
he's
talk about the bush.
mowing it down.
I love that. I love how he was like, it's very 70s.
70s of
and
you.
she was like,
she's like,
thank
"Thank
you.
Yeah.
Like, he could have said something mean. He didn't say anything mean. He said something sexy. That's what I want to
Yeah.
hear.
That's very
Mhm.
I want
70s
people
of
to say
you.
that specifically to me. But that's not the only Bush moment. The
You're talking
other
about Miss
Bush
Thing?
moment is in the pageant where where Shannon Elizabeth's character or Buffy is
Miss
fucking Miss
Fellatio.
Fellatio. That shit was so funny. I was like, is that Fellatio? And then I was
I
like, is that
know
her
my
last name?
Halloween costume this year.
I thought that was her last name for a second. I looked, I was like, no, it's not. It's just literally she's Miss Fellatio. But yeah, Miss Thing with her fucking like braided
Her braids.
her braids from her bush.
I was
and her
watching, I was
braids
like,
from her
Monica's gonna love
armpits.
this.
Oh my god, it looked hot. It looked so hot. She
Like,
looked
Monica's
incredible.
gonna love this.
I was like, I'm sure they're like trying to be fucking obnoxious and be like, ew, oh, she's got all this body hair. I was like, hot, she wins. That's the one. That's the winner right there, queen.
And she would have won if not for such a moving performance of monologue by
That
Buffy
was-
Gilmore.
That was so
That was
funny.
really
She's like,
funny.
I want to be an actor. And then they're like, wow, she's so incredible. She's
I
Oh my
so
god,
was
she's
like, oh my
doing
God.
it. She's doing amazing.
This is
And I also
so
loved
amazing.
the moment where he was like, "That's my girlfriend," and then other guys in the crowd below were like, "That's my girlfriend too. She's also my girlfriend," and like,
That's
and
the
I
best
did it one time.
ever!
Yeah. The song that they play is also great. It's like, she's got great boobs and a beautiful ass. Like, I don't know what the words are, but that's the vibe.
It was so funny.
Some of it was like really good like that, just complimenting her body, and then it got really disgusting really
Yeah,
quickly.
Sure,
And I was
sure.
like,
Yeah.
brain turns off now. This is
Mhm.
a lesson in compartmentalizing watching
Yeah.
this movie. There are so many
Yeah.
really, really funny parts, and then honestly, I've deleted all the other parts from my mind if I can. But let us recognize that they're really fucked up and it's
Yeah.
horrible.
But
And
some of it
doesn't
is
stand the
very
test of time.
funny. Some of it is very funny. Like, okay, they split the Tatum death scene into two. They have the "Oh, I'm a cheerleader, don't kill me" or whatever with
Uh-huh.
Shannon Elizabeth. And then they also have that other random girl in the house party with the little kitty cat door in the garage. And like, did we need part of that joke to be an expense of her about her weight? Like, no. But her being like, I'm just a day player. Like, that is very funny. The way that they just like toss it to an extra and make that part of the joke.
That part was funny, but they also, for me, 100% felt like what I was saying like 10 minutes ago when they're like, wait, we're going through the checklist. Oh my God, we haven't been fat phobic in 25 minutes since the assistant died. All the shit with the assistant for Gale Hailstorm too. Also, really hated that. Specifically,
Okay.
really hated that.
Yes,
But they were
but
like, wait,
also,
let us see fat phobic real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, we did it, and now we're done.
They
we're
are
done.
very fat phobic at Kenny's expense in Scary Movie, but again, that is
In
so directly
Scream?
nailing Scream. Yes,
Scream.
like that is
It's
really
honestly
Gale
worse than
Weathers.
Scream.
Like,
Yes.
it's worse in Scream because it's real, and then in Scary Movie, you know that they're being over the top on purpose, and it's like what they're doing is driving home the point of how ridiculous it was that was in Scream. And I mean, it's Gale Weathers; she's a cunt, and so like it's there to be like she's a cunt, but it does hurt feelings
Such a
sometimes. It does hurt feelings.
Oh my God. I was like, it's so explicit and it's over and over and over again in Scream. It's just
Mm-hmm.
over and over and over again. And then they like have him be like, hey, are there any more donuts? And I'm like, please. This is so 1996.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
classic.
Brutal. brutal. This is, it's good for us to be doing a Y2K movie such as this because in case you're blinded by how cute Gen Z looks in all their Y2K clothes, let us not forget the insane fat phobia of that decade.
The Y2K.
We
Yeah.
can't forget it.
We
And
were
if the
in
children
thick of
are
it. We
bringing
can
the
never
R
forget.
word back, maybe we should remind them how uncomfortable humor about that actually is. It's not that funny.
I still
We
have
don't
not
like the word.
experienced the discourse, not Discord. I got a one-track Discord brain. I have not experienced that discourse about bringing back the R word, and I don't know. Like, I don't want to touch that with 10-foot pole. What the fuck is going on? People, please. People, please.
We had such a, I can't think of the word. There was a movement to get people to stop saying that, basically.
Yeah, it was
go
just like
full
how
Hillary Duff, don't say gay when you say blah 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 whatever. We didn't have full PSA
When you
about
called-
it.
When you say
Yeah.
that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off.
off.
I lived for that shit, by the way. Anyway,
Thank you,
continue. So
thank you.
sorry. Keep going.
We didn't go full that level exactly, but there was such a movement to be like, stop calling things the R word. It's so unnecessary and rude.
Yeah, we were literally
There are
like,
so many
shut
words
the
in the
fuck
English
up.
language. There are so many words in the English language that you could choose from instead of that.
Call them
and
a
it
dumb
worked,
bitch
and that
and move
movie-
on, okay?
Yeah,
we
like
do.
that word was so erased from the lexicon, and I just don't understand why it's coming back. I just don't understand.
Here's the thing. We worked really hard to get that word.
We worked so hard.
And
Do you know how many
smoking.
people I was like, you just also sound out of touch when you're saying that? And now, what do you mean it's current again?
Right? Like that word and smoking. The children yearn for the R word and vapes. I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
I was like,
The children do yearn for
smoking
vapes.
what?
That's-
the children
was-
yearn.
I thought you were saying smoking was a bad word, and I was like, what? How out
Yeah.
of touch am I? I'm not on
We
TikTok
don't
anymore.
say that anymore, Monica.
We don't say smoking anymore. What do I say if something is lightly on fire? Nothing. You don't say anything. You keep
It's
your mouth shut.
burning.
There's some
Unless
sort
you're
of
talking about meats, we don't say the S word.
What about
You can-
salmon?
what do you- Oh, you just call it locks
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Shout out to
or gravlocks.
to
But
Chris,
that's not. That's
Chris.
preserved.
who is coming up with his own Logan cucumber recipe. and sending it.
Oh,
Shout out to you,
Okay,
Chris. I haven't
love.
tried it yet, but it's happening. It's crazy.
I will say the S word marijuana humor in this movie is also very funny. When Shorty pulls up during the I know what you did last summer scene, and he's got like his jumper cables as a little roach clip. I loved that.
So fucking funny. That's so funny when he uses the fish tank as a bong.
Yes, that was so
loved
good.
Loved that. Inventive.
Really specifically loved the camaraderie between Ghostface and Shorty and how like
Yeah.
every time he's like, I'm gonna kill you, they just
They're
chill,
just fucking broing
chill
out.
fucking
What's
hard. This broed down
up?
hard.
Okay,
No
question.
was that thing.
Question.
Okay.
One of Shorty's shotties.
Shorty my shot.
Is that Buzz from Home Alone? Is that the older brother
Girl, I
like
don't know.
actor?
Okay, hold on. Let me
That's
go to
interesting because
Home
it does.
Alone.
If so, that brings us into the Culkin family universe as well, which is also related to the Scream universe, which is related to the Scary Movie franchise.
Exactly.
I'm just
It all comes full
overwhelmed.
circle.
Okay. Buzz is played by Devin Rattray. I thought his last name was Bat Ray for a second. Super excited.
Whoa.
A little bit let down now, but
Sure.
let's see. He was in
think his
Rough
name was
Night, that
Dookie.
other- Do, 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 do. Is it in here? I'm not seeing it. Let me do Control F. Nope, he's not in it. Sorry. It's not the same actor, but
It
he
looked
looks
just
like
like him.
it's his identical twin brother. Damn, I really thought it was gonna be him. That's really too bad. He was in Chicago Med, so don't worry.
Oh, thank
And
God.
Hustlers.
Oh,
So
he's
don't
still
worry.
working. Okay, great.
Oh yeah. He was in an episode of Better Call Saul in 2022. So
Also,
he's doing
Amazing.
fine.
what do y'all think of Paramount is rebooting Scary Movie franchise?
What are comedy movies in the year of our Lord 2024? You know what I mean? Like what? I haven't watched a lot of them lately.
Like, do you
And
think
so I
they're
don't
gonna
know
do
like
like
what the tone is. What do they do? What do they say?
I don't
What
know.
what are the jokes? What jokes are there?
Yeah. Here's the thing is the Wayans brothers are so responsible for Scary Movie, and they were fired from the franchise when they were doing Scary Movie 3, and there is like huge bad blood there, but like they were so okay, the way that Scream revived the horror genre, Scary Movie like launched decades of
Yes.
parody movies, and that being such a thing. Like I
not
was saying
another
earlier, they did
teen
like
movie with Chris
yeah.
Evans.
Well, first of all, that one is iconic. That's another
Yeah,
one I watch on
dance
Comedy Central
movie.
constantly.
There
But
hadn't
there was
been
like
any
a
for like
zillion
a
of them.
decade or two. Like
Because they
like
got so tired. Oh my
Airplane,
God.
Spaceballs, all of those
Uh-huh.
were so popular. And then, yeah, no, they get really bad really fast, as we saw in the 2000s. But hey, there's some gems.
Scary Movie relaunched that as a concept that could be fun and current and successful. Like, Scary Movie made way more in its opening weekend than Scream made in its opening weekend, because Scream was like kind of a slow burn movie, and Scary Movie just like was an instant success. Like, it was
Yeah, because
crazy.
it
They were so
starts
not
with a fart
expecting it.
joke.
Exactly.
Moment one, fart in the first moment. It's like thanks killing. Tits in the first 3 seconds, fart in the first 3 seconds, and it's Carmen
Yes.
Electra.
And it's Carmen Electra, and it's
That's
just like a
how
little
you
toot.
win at the box office.
It's just
folks.
a little toot. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy the way that it was parodying a movie that was a parody, and in the same way it like launched a genre again. It like completely refreshed the genre.
There's something
But
about
then they
this
fucking
subject
ran
matter.
it into the ground. So I don't know, bringing it back. I don't really think that we need Scary Movie. I mean, I guess I'm open to
If it's
the
well
concept that there could be an interesting parody about where the horror genre is now and the kind of horror movies that are being made now, kind of in the same way that Scream 5 was talking about like highbrow horror, and they were kind of doing a similar reboot and the requel, the midquel, and like blah blah blah, all that shit.
They can do it.
I'm
I
not
see
sold, though.
hilarious parody TikToks about horror movies all the time. So there's a lot there about modern horror movies.
There's
all the time.
material.
So there's a lot there. It just like it sounds scary to me to bring back this brand in particular, because
it's
though
so
we're having a really good
offensive.
time right now, I really was having a panic attack for half the day today, and then
It was so of the era, and we're not in that era anymore.
Yeah. So it can't be exactly like this movie now, because a riot would break out or something. It would be panned. But there's a way to be funny still. We do it every week.
I cannot wait to see them riff on Hereditary, quite frankly.
Oh my God.
See? I mean, there is so much room to make fun of the crazy shit that happens in horror movies, and you can see it with this movie when they're doing a scene that is so exactly Scream or whatever it is. Like, it is, so many of them are so funny, and it is like so successful the way that they're riffing off of it. Like, I don't know. I love when they're like exactly recreating something for the most part. Like I was just like scrolling through IMDb looking at the pictures from Scary Movie, and the way that they are completely stealing Sydney's outfit, even when she's like sleeping over at Tatum's house in her little like t-shirt and her little shorts underneath when she gets the phone call, like they are nailing a lot of it. And
Some of
the
those
way
sets
that
almost look the exact same.
I
It's
know. I was like, is
crazy.
that the same fountain? Like, did the
Is that the
Weinsteins bring them
same
to the same
house?
location? Like, what?
Like Casey's house looked so Carmen Electra's house looked so similar. I don't think it was the exact same, but that was crazy.
But I'm sure they were recreating some of the sets that had been on sound stages or whatever.
It helps that it's the same companies overseeing.
Yeah.
They can get
Yeah,
much
but I
closer
mean,
that way.
it is like so wild the way that they adapt some of the scenes. The Cindy with her door and her double door that blocks, like the stuff with the dad smoking crack was like so not necessary.
That
but
was so
sure,
funny, though.
that was them
funny.
being in the year 2000, and they were just like,
Gotta make a crack
we're being
joke.
silly, we're having fun.
But here's the thing,
oh,
just like
Uncle Escobar, blah blah blah, like.
just like horror movies of like any time, horror movies like reflect the pop culture of an era, right? And so
Mhm.
like they were taking like all these movies, but there's like a weird difference between 2000 and like 96, right? Like just the level of like it's similar and close, but they took all of these movies that were like, oh, we're gonna do this, and then we're like, we're bringing it into the new millennium here. We're like
Totally. And I loved all of the non-horror references too, like the epic fight at the end where they're bringing in like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and fucking oh my god,
The Matrix.
The Matrix. I was just gonna call it Trinity,
classic,
because that's who I'm really thinking about when I'm thinking about the Matrix. I'm thinking about Trinity. Also, that's my cousin's name, and it's her birthday. But like it's so funny, all the like little details of stuff coming on. Like they literally parodied a Budweiser commercial. Like that's what the "What's Up" thing is. I forgot
with the frogs.
where that came from. I forgot that that's where the "What's Up" came from.
Oh yeah, the Budweiser
Yeah,
frogs.
and they added that in the movie kind of late in the game because it was such a cultural moment, and they could like have it be in the movie and come out and still be fresh at that point and not tired yet at that point. But they had already been releasing like teasers and trailers for this movie when that Super Bowl commercial came out, and they just like hopped on it really quick to land the moment.
Oh yeah. Also, one thing I really want to shine on really quickly, absolutely obsessed with how Ghostface mask changes throughout and how it makes little expressions and his tongue sticks out. Like I really want, you can buy the one with him with the sticky outy tongue. You can buy that. I want it real bad. But I want to give shine to Regina Hall because her death scene is so funny, and I'm so glad there's Scream 2 in this. It's also super uncomfortable because I feel like there's some like stereotypical portrayals of Black people things happening in this. But again, the Wayans christened it, so I can only say so much. But that said, have you ever wanted to murder someone in the movie theater because they won't shut the fuck up? Yes. So it was cathartic in that way to be like, they did it. They killed her.
Yeah.
But I love that the audience did that one. They were like, you're not doing it fast enough.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
funny.
I mean, I think
and
I talked
Shakespeare
about
in Love was the movie. What the fuck? I still haven't seen that either. So I was like, spoiler, what the fuck?
Spoiler, what do you mean she's a girl? Yeah. Yeah, I remember talking about it on the Scream 2 episode 4 years ago, being like, I didn't realize the real version of this that was being parodied was so similar to the parody, with like the dying in front of the screen in front of everybody. Like I thought that it was very over the top in Scary Movie, and it turns out it's not. That part is just giving exactly what the movie is giving.
It's exactly.
And they talked about it in some of the interviews where they were saying like, we were watching those movies, we were studying what they were doing to like literally recreate it in many ways. Like she was like, I was trying to die exactly like Jada Pinkett Smith died in Scream 2, and she nailed it. But the way that they switch it up is so funny, where it's like Ghostface is there with the knife and everybody else is just like, you're taking too long. Like, it's so good. And then like Ray in the bathroom having that instead of
glory hole.
the knife, it's the
Oh.
glory hole, and he gets like the dick through
The
his
dick through his
head,
ear.
like,
Beautiful CGI work with that penis, by the way.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Incredible.
Without that, we wouldn't have got the Trump ear cover.
Stop. That's so funny. That's so funny. That's so funny. That's so funny. That's fucked up. I'm gonna go put myself in jail for that one.
That was all I
Well-
could see. He walked in and I was like, oh my God, Trump ear thing.
That's all I'm ever gonna
It's
think
how
about
all the
whenever I see
Republicans
that
were
ever
wearing
again.
the ear covering in solidarity.
They all
Which is a
got dicks
weird
in their
thing to
ears.
do. They all got
Oh,
dick glory hole in the ear.
we do not support assassination, but that is hilarious.
Now back to Jack Black because assassination jokes, but yeah, I mean, it just it's so fun that they were able to reference the sequels for both of those franchises, that both
Yeah.
of those franchises were at the point, because those sequels came out so fast. Scream 2 came out
Oh,
like
yeah.
1
Big
year
a
after
year
the
later.
first Scream. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
like I almost feel like in less than a calendar year, which is fucking crazy. And kind of the same thing for I Know What You Did Last Summer. Like they just were so back to back, which is wild. And same with Scary Movie. Like they had like 9 months to put out the second Scary Movie. And
Which is
one of
crazy,
the
'cause the
articles I was
second
reading
one
was like
slaps.
it showed. Oh, that's crazy because the article
Uh.
I was saying just was saying it was bad. But I
that
tend to block
one.
that one
Third
from my
one's
brain.
best.
So I
Mhm.
can't speak to Scary Movie 2, but Scary
I
Movie
guess I only
1.
remember the little hand parts, and I like the little hand parts, though I hate them at
That's
the
my
same
least
time.
favorite part.
I got a strong hand. That's my favorite part.
I love it
Quick,
when he
grab
rubs
onto
the
my
hand
strong hand.
all over
He's
the
trying to
chicken.
carve the turkey.
turkey. He rubs it.
Maybe he's also holding
Anyway.
up a mirror to my own issues. I don't know, but I can't fuck with that part. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. That's totally fine. It's fucked up. It's for surely fucked up. Click. It's
Oh.
checking the ableness box. There you go.
Okay, I found the poster that I was referencing earlier when we were talking about the poster and Anna Faris being on the poster. It's the DVD release poster, I think. So it was like by that time people were familiar enough with her and she
Oh.
was like enough of a
Mhm.
star of the franchise that when they were releasing it, they were like, okay, and we know you're here for her also, so we're working her. But it like kind of looks very clearly like she's been photoshopped in, so it's pretty funny actually. I'll send you the picture. But it
so
is also funny because part of the advertising for Scary Movie is that it was like no sequels because it was like horror movies have been so saturated with sequels, and then Scary Movie also became its own whole franchise. So
Yep.
Uh-huh.
they
I saw that in
apparently
the on the poster, and I was
Mhm.
like, "Well, that's
Well,
why." They
in
didn't.
the
How could they have known? How could they have known?
sequels, apparently the posters for the sequels, they just have that part like crossed out on the poster just to be like, hee, we get it, we see what happened here.
Oopsies, we wanted to make money. What are we supposed to do?
It's the Hollywood machine,
okay.
baby.
What other scary movie parts that would we like to discuss? got
We
most
talked
of
about
it.
the Bush moment, but I do just think like that whole sex scene is like wild and fun and silly and ridiculous.
love
Like
Their tongues
How-
getting literally tied together.
disgusting.
Loved
Hated
that. Loved how into it she was. That she became a demon and shook the house. That was cool.
Mhm.
Didn't
Let's not
love
forget his
the cum
geyser of
fountain,
cum,
unfortunately.
which was giving
Oh, that was
the
the
That
blood.
actually-
The Nightmare on Elm
Elm
Street.
Street. Yeah.
That was
I
like
love that just
how
occurred
sweet.
to all of us in the same single moment. That's kind of
Wow.
Look at us, three
That's
beautiful idiots right
beautiful.
here. I love that.
I
for
love when
our
we're on the same
200th.
wavelength. Yeah,
Okay,
we're
it wasn't
so connected.
there was a lot of other stimulus during that scene, so I think it's okay that it takes
Yeah.
a second. There's a lot of things going on.
Apparently,
I
when
just
Anna Faris took her mom to see this movie, she's like, I think you need to go to the bathroom right now. I think you need to get out of this theater and go to the bathroom right now.
I think, yeah. Don't you? She just starts making like water sounds in her ear. Shh! Don't you have to pee right now?
Yeah, I mean, she was very nervous to do this scene, apparently, and the director, Keenan Ivory Wayans, was like, look, if it's funny and test audiences like it, you have nothing to be embarrassed about. And if it's not funny and they don't like it, then we're not going to keep it in the movie. So, like, you don't need to worry about it, girl. She said that this was like a very good crash course in like comedy movie making, where it was like, there's no vanity, and then and they did kind of the same thing. It was interesting reading the oral histories. Both of them said the same thing at one point, which was like in Scream and in Scary Movie, they would film this scene as it was written in the script, and then they would go again and were allowed to be like a little looser with it. And that's how we got so many like Matthew Lillard ad-libs in Scream. And that's how we get so many funny moments in Scary Movie 2, where they're just like allowed to play and like lean into things and be a little silly. So it's fun. It's fun that those processes mirrored each other in that way as well.
Yeah, no, that is really sweet. Oh man. These they go together like bread and butter. These two films. You can't have one without the other. That's not true. You could have Scream without Scary Movie. But it wouldn't be as
But
fun.
you couldn't have a scary movie without Scream.
No.
Not the
you
first
really,
one.
You really could not.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, let's talk about the end of Scary Movie really quickly so we can talk about like just wax poetic about Scream for a second before we go into our segments. But the end of Scary Movie made me take my first breath in an hour and a half. My first
Well, it's also
because-
funny, even before that end, with the Ray and Bobby
Yes.
like false reveal. I think that part is really interesting. And there's a little nugget in there that they're not really the real Ghostface, because they're like, we're just doing what an existing serial killer was doing. So they kind of are giving you a clue that they're like hopping on. But also, at least at first, it does seem like they're just like referencing Scream again and being like, yeah, Ghostface is already a thing, so we're just copying it. Like, but it is very fun that they give you that moment, and then they also go, and we've got reveals of our own, and we've got mysteries of our own, and there's additional Ghostface, and we just wanted to we're really just trying to drive the point home that billions too are gay, and that's what we wanted to talk about.
And we brought you here today to argue our case that billions too are canonically gay.
That is another moment that was burnt in my brain, is that he's like, we're gay. Ray's gay too, and Ray's like, what? No, I'm not. And
No,
it's
I'm
like,
not.
but we went to the bar together. Well,
You took me to that
just
club.
like dancing. Well, but we
They
went to San
played
Francisco.
really good
Well, I needed to
music
go
there.
shopping. But we made love. Well, you sucked my dick.
He's just really fashion forward. He's a fashion forward man with incredible music taste.
He's just a
It's raining
sexy as hell
men.
guy.
Oh my god, he's metrosexual.
He just has his fingers in his friend's ass in the car scene because, you know, they're
he thought it
close
was
or
his
whatever.
girlfriend's ass.
Oopsie, I made her dress up in all of my football uniform and called her Brandon.
Oh my god.
The
So
way that
so
he
funny.
falls on top
Brandon,
of Bobby when they are, yeah.
I mean, Brenda.
That was so funny. Dressing her up so he can't see her at all. Oh my god.
But yeah, I mean, I loved that Scary Movie said, yes, we're parodying Scream. Yes, we're parodying I Know What You Did Last Summer, but we do want to maintain our own reveal at the end. I think it's fun that they did something a little bit different. And like
They
you were
had
saying,
to.
Monica, thank God they did. Thank God they did.
Thank fucking God.
And also, they
Here-
referenced another
Thank
movie.
fucking God. Yeah. No, it's wait, what other movie?
The Usual Suspects. It's like
Oh,
the
I
there's
haven't
exact
seen it, but I
oh,
saw that on
it's the exact same
technically a
ending.
spoiler, but
no, what are you talking about? Fuck. I wish I hadn't asked. Why did I ask? I could have just
that
been
one was on you.
blissfully
That
unaware.
one was on you. What movie?
That's your
Well,
fault.
girl, it's gonna be
That's your fault, Monica. Don't
don't
be mad
know.
at me.
I thought it was one we maybe already talked about. I don't know.
No,
It's
sorry,
okay.
Monica.
I'll forget.
I
Stop
think
talking
you
about
will.
it.
Yeah.
But like, oh my god. Thank God. Thank God. That was one of the
Mhm.
worst things of the entire movie. Doofy was one of the worst things of the entire movie. Gale
It's so
Hailstorm.
unbelievably offensive. Yeah.
It was so unbelievably offensive. The fact that she had sex with him, I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I was like, this is
But
horrible.
also too,
But
the
she
fact
was
that he
his
shit
accomplice.
his
She found out.
pants
He
and
shitted
just
his
his
pants.
pants.
he shitted his pants and just sat there. Listen, you're as an
He
adult,
fucked
they
that
don't tell
vacuum
you.
cleaner.
But here's the thing: as an adult, nobody tells you how much realistically you're gonna shit yourself. Nobody prepares you for that.
No one prepares you. That's what's
It
that's what's
happens
coming for you.
sometimes. It does
It
happen.
hasn't happened to
Sometimes-
you yet. It's coming for
Nobody-
you.
It's coming.
It's coming for you
Nobody
in
warns you.
adulthood.
So
You're
this is
not
a
past
Sometimes you
it.
have the flu or you have food poisoning or whatever. Like, we're all humans and we're all in human bodies and we all have human frailties at times. So
Sometimes you
And they're gonna make you
take
shit your pants.
your Adderall and
Sometimes
you
it
drink
makes you
2
shit your pants.
coffees and you trust a fart and you shit yourself. Never trust a fart.
that's the problem with fart
That's the
humor,
rule.
Monica. You're promoting fart humor, but you didn't think about the dangers of it, did you?
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you know right now. One time I ate a bad oyster, and so I know all about this. Okay, so I can speak freely about the fart jokes and how I love them because I've lived it all. I've lived it all, Chelsea. But yeah, I did love that they drove away into the sunset, and with that took all of half of my pain. Not half of my pain. They took 10% of my pain. From
He said that
watching
ha, ha, I got you. That was a facade I put on so that nobody would question or suspect me or look too closely. And it worked, didn't it? You didn't think I was capable of anything. And that's, again, something for you to reflect on about what you think about people with
Actually.
intellectual disabilities.
Uh-huh.
Because we can do anything, including having sex with Hailstorm, maybe. But okay. One thing about Doofy that nobody talks about. One thing about Doofy that nobody talks about is the way that he's hanging dong. Because
he has a fucking huge dick. He has a huge.
It is enormous, and he's got big balls as well. And
that is a very subtle blink and you miss it penis right there.
You miss it. He is hanging dong like crazy. And also in that scene, before he comes out of the room with the vacuum cleaner, when Cindy is on the phone with Ghostface and what Buffy's mom calls for Doofy to come help. You do hear Ghostface on the phone go, "No, it's not me," or something like that. Like, there is a little Easter egg in there for the Doofy reveal later on. That does show that even though Doofy is putting on a facade, Doofy is still a little bit himself. So, like, you know, he's drawing from some of his own experiences.
He just can't help himself.
Yeah, he got lost in the character for a moment there.
One thing that I think that they missed out on in this movie, probably because they killed the guy who was Stu in the very beginning. They did some good Stu stuff later, I'm getting that. But there wasn't enough tongue stuff from they could have done so much more tongue stuff because
and I
Matthew
feel like
Lillard does so much tongue stuff.
God, I love
the main character.
I love the tongue.
That's part of the "was up" thing, is the tongue out, you know what I mean? And they really could have utilized that, and they didn't.
And they didn't. And that was a glaring misstep. But I did love that Sean, aka Ray, in the movie has his little spit attack moment in the final scene where he's like, so much spit everywhere. And I'm like, that is incredibly accurate. That's actually
that's real. That's real.
That's a copy and paste from Scream.
I also love during the stabbing scene where it's like, wait, stab me, because it's like, yeah, fucking don't stab me. I don't want to be stabbed. I'm scared of being stabbed, even if I previously agreed to be stabbed. Like, it is very real that he was like,
It's very real.
wait. And that
Ray
was the
stabs
scene
him like really hard, like 400 times.
Mhm. That was the scene in the original Scream that they really needed to cut down on in regards to the gore. Originally, you were gonna see so much more of it in the movie. And then you mostly like hear the stabbings happening, and you like
Yeah, you don't see
see
him, like,
Sydney
at all.
watching the stabbings happening. You don't get that much like drippy blood. And apparently that was also a conversation between Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson when they were filming it. Is like Kevin Williamson was like, "Why is it so bloody?" And Wes Craven was like, "Well, girl, they're stabbing each other. How exactly do you how
What
do
do
you
you
expect it to play out
expect?
if not very bloody?" And Kevin
Yeah,
Williamson was like, "You
maybe
know
a
what?
tiny.
Great point, Queen.
Great push.
Noted. No, you're so right. You're so right, Queen. So I love that. I love that for them. The oral history that I linked in our references is super, super interesting. I really would encourage reading it because there's lots of interesting details in there about like how Scream was made and how like when they first started shooting it in the beginning and they were doing all the Drew Barrymore stuff, the studio at first was like, "This is stupid. What the fuck are you doing? This mask looks bad. This is not scary. Like, what is wrong with you guys?" Like they almost fired Wes Craven from the movie because they did not have the vision. Like they had an executive fly out to be like, "What are you bitches doing?" And Wes Craven was like, "Stop looking at the dailies for 1 second. Just give us a moment to cut this together into what it would look like as an actual movie scene. And then let me know what you think about it." And then when they saw that, they were like, "Oh, actually, you're so right,
Oh,
King, and
if
you
that,
know what you're doing. And here's 1,000 more resources to make the movie how you want to make it, because actually it turns out you guys are slaying it.
yeah, could you trust the master of
Could you
horror?
trust the
Thanks.
process, please? Thank you." And he didn't want to
Yeah.
be part of the movie at first. He was like not excited to be doing horror, and he was trying to move away from the genre. But enough people in his life were like, "This is a special script. Like this is gonna be something different. Like this is smart. You want to be involved with this." And
Yeah.
he
And you did.
he got on board. And then from when he was on board, he was just like a total champion for it. So
Damn. That's awesome. Ugh. I mean, I'm so glad we did both of these movies because it was so great to watch Scream again. I'll be honest though, I had a lot on my brain today, and so I didn't get to give it the reverent watch that I really wanted to give it this time around. But
yeah.
we did get to have that experience when we saw it in that cool setting with the headphones a little bit ago. But Sydney and I did get a doobie dropped on us from the sky from
No,
We
that
did.
was me.
That was
It
you
was
too.
into
Oh, it was
my
you?
lap.
Yeah.
It was into
Oh,
my
it was
lap. I
all
was
of
mad
us.
about it.
Yeah, it was very scary. We almost lit on
My
fire. So that
blanket.
took you out of it a little bit, you know. That was very dangerous.
And also
Um,
with headphones, it was hard to lean over and do whispers to each other. So
I know. That's my
I know.
favorite thing
How
to
could we
do.
make funny, one-liners to each other?
yeah, I was like,
That's my
I
form
am
of
paying more
comedy.
attention to the soundtrack than I ever have before ever in my life.
But I
But
came here to
I'm
be with my
here
homies.
watching movie in a crowd to be watching a movie in a crowd, not to be sitting by myself listening with headphones on.
Yeah, I could do that at home. But
Could
it
do that
the
at
screen
home.
would be smaller. Yeah, that was one detractor, but that was one self-conscious moment I had watching Scary Movie when I was because I always do little whispers into Chelsea's ear or Sydney's ear or whoever I'm next to. I was doing a lot of little whispers during Alien Romulus. I was a little drunk, so I would not shut the fuck up. But I was
I
very
love doing that
volume
though.
quiet. But I was like, has anyone ever wanted to stab me? Because I'm doing my little
I'm sure they
jokes.
have. Yep.
That's
I'm
my
sure somebody
favorite
did.
part about watching movies is just every once in a while making a little joke.
Yeah,
It's about having
I-
a fun time with your friends.
Exactly.
I'm good at whispering. Okay, Chelsea has a loud
I'm
whisper.
not
It
good at
scares me
whispering,
sometimes.
but oh well.
Oh, fuck off.
Kill yourself, maybe?
Watch out,
But
because I have a real knife in my hand.
And she knows where you live.
And I know where you
know.
live. And I have the knife-proof glove in my possession right now, not in yours, bitch.
Whenever the your whisper is loud to me, it's when it's still the trailers, and then
Oh, well, yeah, because who
then, like,
cares?
Yeah, nobody
I don't
cares.
know. Sometimes people are crazy about trailers. Not me. Not me.
Not you. That's okay.
No, I've adopted it now. I'm like, we can talk as much as we want during the trailers. That's what I learned. And then as
Yeah.
soon as the trailers are over,
Then you gotta whisper.
Shut the fuck up and pay attention.
super
Yeah.
stealth mode. Okay, all right. Do we have more Scream idea things that we would like to say, or can I ask the questions I want to ask that are not our segment questions?
I just want to say, Scream, you had so many silly moments, and Scary Movie really highlights how many fucking silly moments you have that are not necessarily intended to be silly, but just are silly by virtue of the fact that like crazy things happen in movies.
Yeah.
But the way that you still pull it off and are emotional and have so much heart and so much soul, and the way that you can get a little crazy in a movie if you are good enough to sell it, Scream, you're a legend. Scream, you're the moment. And
Scream, you are that
Scary
girl.
Movie couldn't be what it was without you, girl.
Too true. It's a beautiful film. It's one of the literal best ever. And I'm really glad that it's the very first movie that we ever did on the podcast. It was just so perfect because we all love it so much. So it's so great to do it on this milestone episode. So now it's Gushy Feels time, 200 episode Gushy Feels time. And so you asked earlier, what's your favorite scary movie? But I want to ask, what's your favorite episode that we've ever done and why? What's your favorite one?
Oh my
Your
God.
favorite guest,
Well, girl, I don't
whatever
know.
it could be. I don't know. It doesn't
Remember
have to
when
be
we had a celebrity
definitive.
on? Remember when Christian Brood was on the podcast? That was cool.
That was
That was
fun.
so cool. Love Christian Brune. I ran into him at sushi dinner and we hugged. Shouts out to Christian Brune.
Wow, it's like
He's
we're
a
friends with him or
sweetie.
something.
Wow.
That's
He's a sweetie.
crazy.
I have officially invited him to come to the Renaissance Fair with us next year. So maybe.
Oh.
Okay, perfect. Watch this space. Watch this space.
Yeah, he's so sweet. He responds to our DMs, so we love him.
I
that
think
was
one of my
fun.
favorite moments of the pod was most recently when we were all together delusional for I still know what you did.
That was a good
I
one. That was a fun
I was-
episode.
Gonna say that is one of my all-time favorite episodes because we were so sleepy.
We were
And it was
so delusional.
fucking
It was
nuts.
so fun. Also,
I keep
it's
watching
never-
that clip of us reenacting the bed scene and being like, this is gonna go crazy.
Well, it's also, it is very special when we all get to be in the same place for an episode because, like, yes, we have moments over Zoom where we're so in tune with each other and we're on the same wavelength. But when you actually, like, watching the I Still Know What You Did Last Summer episode, when you can see us, like, moving in unison without having anything planned or anything like that, I just think that is really fun. Also, I think that the chemistry really shines when we don't have technological glitches getting in the way.
I also love our boy episode and Chelsea having to apologize.
Oh. I would love to re-listen to the boy episode. That would be so funny. Not
Well,
Brahms the Boy
guess
too.
what?
Not
In
Brahms
just
the Boy too. Not that one.
400 more
Sorry, I was
episodes,
so sad on that one.
maybe we can do the boy again.
Actually, now
if
I'm
you
really
wait
into
8
Spooky
years-
Take2sDay.
I'm actually really in. I do want to do
Actually,
House of Wax again, kind of.
I want
Yeah,
to do
I
House of
wanna-
Wax. That's
you only need
That's
to
the
wait
one I
4
was
more
gonna
years.
say.
Yeah.
I
And
was
then
gonna say
think-
that our House of Wax episode is my favorite because that was like one of the ones where we went so feral. Like one of the first ones we went so feral because that was season 1, right? That was like
Mhm.
Yeah.
January, February of season 1, and we had like finally like got it, hit our stride. We
kind of
knew
got our
what
feet
we
underneath us.
had our feet underneath us. We had done it like 10 times, 15 times. I don't know how many Tuesdays between October and February. Don't talk to me about that. But we had done it a fair few times and we went fucking crazy for that movie. That spawned my whole Helena thing where I only listened to that song for like 3 months straight.
Sure.
Okay, but
That
also
was a really fun
let's
one.
not forget Doll Month and the epic art that we had for Doll
I
Month.
do love a theme month.
Sharky
Our first theme
Tues
month?
weeks where we did 47
Sharky-
meters.
Oh,
47
47 meters
meters.
down on cage. Okay, but the thing about that episode is after we recorded, you guys went to dinner without me, and I was like, they hate me and they don't want to be my friend anymore because they think I would climb over them to survive in a cave with sharks.
Oh yeah, I remember
Okay,
that.
It's like they're at dinner talking about how actually they hate me.
We did. That's exactly what we talked about the entire thing. We're like, I can't
That's
wait
what
to
it was.
see.
I think
That's
I
what it was.
redeemed myself since then, maybe, but yeah, it's
No, no,
dangerous.
no.
That was a dangerous
We
episode.
don't like
not.
you.
We
We
still
That's
really
why they're
don't like
still
that.
are like,
Yeah.
she's the first girl, blah blah blah. Obviously, I'm not helping my case by dressing up as Casey. But that's why you guys are always determined that I would die first in a horror movie because you don't trust that I would preserve your survival at all later
yeah.
on.
We're
And guess what?
throwing
we
Because I'm
decide-
secretly the killer. So
wrong.
Did we
That would
decide
be
that
me.
I would die second?
I think you're
because
the medium
there would
girl.
be something
Yeah.
something weird would happen and I'd be like, I can fix it. And then I just
Or I'll
fail.
go
Then you
check
would
out what
die.
that noise
I'll go
is or
check
whatever.
it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Sydney's scrappy. She's Scrappy Doo. So what are we doing, Scooby Doo?
Yeah, when are we doing Scooby Doo?
Maybe this year. I'm not buying the Scooby Doo Crocs, by the way. I'm just gonna put it on the record so people stop pressuring me about it. Everybody keeps sending me the Scooby Doo Crocs, but I'm trying to save money right now, and they're $100. So if you want to give me
That's
those
a
Crocs,
good deal
I'm a
for
size
specialty
10.
Crocs.
I'm a size 10 if you want to know, and you want to send me the spooky Mystery Machine Crocs, but I will not be spending that money at this time. And that's on
Sure.
responsibility. I'm so sorry.
Sure.
But everybody has sent it to me, and I appreciate that. But I'm not doing it. Here's
I
another
liked
thing
how
that
you
I
did
really
Final
like.
Destination Summer also.
That was so fun.
Final
I
Destination
love-
3 especially.
Oh yeah.
And they reference Final Destination a little bit in this movie at the very end.
Oh, yeah?
When Anna Faris gets hit by the car because she's standing in the road.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I also, what else did I've loved some of our collaborations with different like podcasts too that have brought us like
Mhm.
real legitimate friendships. Like I love Homies of Horror so much. I love our Spooky Chicks and Horror Flicks girlies too. We got to hang out with them at Midsummer Scream, got to hang out with Homies of Horror at Midsummer Scream. We literally, all of us blacked out and threw up with Homies of Horror from doing their drunk episode
Yes.
of them
Mhm.
That
with them
was-
for St. Patrick's Day. That is my least favorite thing.
Okay, but here's the thing. I think we should have them back on and we should do a drunk episode.
It can't be like
What?
that though.
It
We're
has
not
to be
breaking out the
exactly
dangerous.
like that. It
We're
has
not
to be
breaking out the J Machine.
exactly like that.
I want to give a shout out to Claire too with Why the Flick because that was my
Yes.
Spooky Take Tuesday before I got a real Spooky Take Tuesday. It's like I was like, let's just go on Claire's podcast and then I can talk about Cursed again and then I can talk about Jennifer's Body again because these bitches are not letting me have Spooky Take Tuesday yet. And so that was very important to me. Thank you, Claire.
I'm sorry that we can't have it be a regular thing. There's so many movies that our listeners are yelling at us and screaming at us to do that we haven't done for 3 years. Like you're next. I'm sorry we keep not doing that.
We'll
And
do it at some
Silent
point.
Hill.
I promise.
I'm sorry
I
we
promise.
keep not doing that.
At some point. Hey, join
We're
the
gonna get
Patreon.
there.
Yeah,
and
I will
you
say
can scream at us there to do it.
a lot of the
Yeah.
movies that people suggested for our 200th episode have sparked genuine interest to do
Yeah.
at some point on the pod. Like a lot of them, we went, "Oh, that's a good idea. We should do it at some point," or "Oh, that sounds really interesting. I'd love to check that out." So you guys
One
can
of
really
them
make
might
your
make the
voices
September
heard.
schedule. We're not sure yet, but that might make the September. We've been talking about it in serious ways. So, we really appreciate the suggestions because there's just a lot of shit that's not on our radar yet, also, because there's so think of how many horror movies came out this year.
Oh my god,
been
it's
so overwhelming.
exhausting.
And that happens every year. And there's been so many years that there's
so
been
many.
movies. Think about that. There's thousands of billions and millions.
That just makes me feel real confident that we'll be able to do Spooky Take Tuesday in 4 more years. Every election
4
cycle
more
will
years.
get-
Oh, great.
Oh,
Every
here.
election year and every
Least
leap
favorite.
year.
Let's do least favorite. My least favorite is when we did the purge the week after Trump won. Or no.
No,
Did he
no,
win?
he
He
lost.
Yeah.
we
lost.
recorded it in this space between the election happening and the
long-
election results coming out.
The
Yeah.
long
And it
week
was a
where you
really
didn't
tough
know.
time.
The week we didn't know. That's what it was. Sorry, I
We
completed
didn't
the time
think
I
that
was
it
at
would
Islands
take
when
so
Trump
long.
won.
That
It was I was at and I cried, and it was the worst time I've ever had at Islands.
It was tough. It was a tough
It
night
was
at
really bad.
Islands.
It was a really bad night at Islands. It was not the tropical fun time vibes that you were looking
No.
for.
You
The
want from
margarita
Islands.
didn't hit.
Okay, speaking
But
of
yeah,
margaritas,
that was really terrible. That we're holding on for dear life.
speaking of margaritas, what about that one time at Cinco de Mayo that we got absolutely hammered and tried to record? What was it? Scream 4?
No, it
No.
was Nightmare on Elm
Oh.
Street.
It was Nightmare on
Yeah.
Elm Street. Yeah, we
And
decided
it
like,
was
oh, we're
so
gonna
bad
do.
because we were so drunk.
It's because we hadn't really eaten dinner before, and so we had like one margarita to start, and then we're like, let's have another margarita, and then we're like 45 minutes in, and Sydney's like, authentically, this is a terrible episode.
She was like, I'm gonna be so real with you guys.
With you.
This is ridiculous and not usable.
Because
Like,
it was like
it's not good.
it was fucking it was like Nightmare on Elm Street. I was like, we cannot, like, they will be mad if we release this.
Yeah,
Was
that
it
is
Nightmare on
a
Elm Street?
temple
Yeah.
of horror as a genre. So there you
Also,
go.
let's not forget our disastrous recording of Scream 4 the first
Yeah,
time.
we did have to re-record
my
Scream
God.
4 just because vibes were so heinous.
Yeah, no, Chelsea and I were in bad moods when we watched Scream 4 and we hated it.
I
hated it
wasn't
the
in
most.
a bad mood. I was having a fun time being a hater, but
Hater.
Sydney was not having a fun time talking to haters.
Here's the thing. Honestly,
Well,
you
it's
know what we
actually
should
a
have done for
really
the
good
200th
movies.
episode is we should have done what was our practice one?
Happy Death Day.
Happy
Happy
Death
Death
Day.
Day. That would have
When
been a
are
good
we-
one for
Yeah, the thing is, I still feel too close to Happy Death Day potentially. What we need to do when we do that is just do Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day 2 double feature potentially. I think that's a way
Yeah.
to keep it fresh and exciting.
yeah.
And also, I love that sequel so fucking much, but it's not really giving much in the horror space on its own, you know?
Yeah. No, to be so clear with you guys in case you didn't remember the lore. That was our very first episode that we ever tried and it was an abomination.
It's like
We
our
did it
practice
specifically as
episode.
a practice, and we just we needed that whole episode to find our footing.
to be
because
like,
we
this is what we're
had-
not gonna do.
We were trying to be like, what's our format and like what's the way that we move through a
Yeah, like,
movie, and it
how
turns
do you
out just
talk about
organically
it?
talking is the best way for us to do it. Other people have much more organized ways to do it. That
Could never be us.
that was not entertaining when we tried to be organized. It was too limiting. It was too restricting.
But
We love
Chaos
to have
Goblins
freedom.
for sure.
And
Yes,
also
exactly.
that movie is a really hard one to start with because the same thing happens over and over and over and
Over
over and over again. And so I was like, okay, so then when it happened again, and then this
And then
Ooh.
again.
Ooh,
Great
so
movie
far
though. Love
now.
it so much.
And
Yeah,
Love
we
it
gotta
so
tackle that one
much.
again. I'm ready. It's been 4
Professionals.
years. I'm ready now.
We're so
We're
ready. We have
seasoned
come
now.
So far. I would maybe one day listen to our first episode again, but I don't know if I could do that. And I'm so scared to listen.
No,
I was like,
thank
I
you.
should listen and be like, wow, nostalgia. No.
Yeah, I was gonna
I don't
ask,
wanna
did
know.
either of you
I
listen to the
don't
screen
wanna
episode?
know. No.
I didn't.
No. No.
Nope. No,
I
thank
can't.
you.
It's hard enough for me to edit the video and hear my own voice. So definitely didn't revisit it. But I'm sure it's cute. People always say they like that one.
I am sure the audio quality is so not good.
Heinous.
And thank you so
In
much
a
for
tin
everybody who
can.
persevered. That is one of our most popular episodes. I understand why. Scream is an incredibly popular movie, and it's the first episode, so people like to start from the beginning sometimes. Thank you for putting up with all of the little troubleshooting that we did with our very first episode, including mispronouncing Nev Campbell's name.
Neve
but-
Campbell.
That's cute. That
Forever.
part's good. That's a good part. It's fun to make a mistake.
I have always maintained that we let them know exactly who we are up front, and that's important.
Uh-huh.
It's very Three Beautiful Idiots.
Yeah. We're
Till
never
the
getting
day
it
we
incorrect.
And now I
Till the
understand
day
what
we
I'm
die.
walking into. I
Yep.
understand what I'm getting with this podcast. So it's a great introduction in many ways.
Thank you for
Cute.
listening to us so we can still be doing this for fucking 4 years. Isn't that
Mhm.
4
insane?
years.
Yeah.
4 years.
But
So crazy.
it has
We
been
got a
kind of
month-
a long
month shy.
episode already, so maybe we should get to segments
Yeah,
before
it's
we're
time for
waxing too
segments.
nostalgic.
It's a double wide episode, okay? We're doing 2
Yeah,
movies.
it is.
Double wide.
Look,
It's a double wide, all right?
it's kind
got
of
the
like one
sign
and a
on
half movies, but
It says double wide, okay? You
Mhm.
can add that to the art. It's like one of those big trucks. That's what I'm mean when I'm saying double wide. If no one knows what I'm talking about, anyway,
I was
it's
thought
time
you
for
meant a
our
trailer. Segamuntos.
yeah.
Chelsea, you should have said that with me.
I
Redo,
will
redo.
never. I will never.
I just want to let the audio listener know that Chelsea has a prop phone that we used from a photo shoot literally years ago.
No, I made this
And-
when Rebecca and I went to the Scream double feature at Cinespia.
Oh. Either way, my
Hello.
point is that she's had it to her ear the entire episode. She's
She
had
did.
My
the
arm
phone
is
to her ear.
my arm is
Commitment
falling
to the
asleep a little
bit.
bit.
The entire I really thought she'd give up a long time ago. I took the jacket off 2 minutes in. Anyway, it's time for our segment.
No, bitch, it's still here, and I have my knife right now.
I don't want to do the segments for Scream again. Do we have to do that? Can we just
I
can
think we
not?
can talk about them when they're in conversation with the segments for Scary Movie.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. How could this movie be air?
Well,
This movie is very gay, actually.
here's the thing.
Look,
It's so
I
gay,
think-
but it could make not everyone a predator. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, I think that they should make the movie less predatory gay and
Here's the
more
thing.
fun gay.
Cindy and Buffy went down on each other when they were drunk, and that wasn't predatory at all. They just pretend it never happened, okay? But
Fair.
that was
That
just
was so
fun,
funny.
sexy
We've all been
lady
there.
time.
We've all been there.
We've all been
Look,
there.
I have been on the Sydney Prescott gay agenda my whole life, basically,
have.
it feels like. And I just really appreciate that we're getting canon Cindy queer hookups and such happening in this film. So that is giving me the confirmation I need to say it's in the original text as well.
Mm-hmm. I think it's beautiful to see. It's beautiful to see. But what did this do for gay people in Y2K? What did it do? What did it do? It
allowed
when you
them
say that's
to
so
wear
gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off.
it allowed them to wear sexy tank top all tucked up without feeling like they were outing themselves, because as discussed, Ray doesn't look gay. He looks great.
Yeah.
Not to say that you
great.
can't look great and gay, but in this one it's
You
like
can
you can wear whatever you
even
want.
greater.
Yeah, and with Carmen Electra's boyfriend in the beginning, he can wear makeup and dresses and also date women. You can do whatever you want and identify however you want. It's actually very progressive. And also, you can be a trans gym teacher with your balls hanging out if you want
Hanging
to
brain.
do that too.
Yep, hanging brain.
I don't know if you can hang brain when you're in the
You probably
the space
shouldn't
of
hang brain.
teacher.
Right.
You
As-
probably
as a
shouldn't hang brain.
teacher in front of minors. I feel like you shouldn't hang brain.
Yeah.
But love the concept and love the phrase. Love the phrase. How
Yeah.
about that?
love the phrase so much.
Love the
And
phrase so much.
again, it was one of those things where it's like, okay, what they're doing actually obviously is very offensive. And it is not good trans representation, but
No, it is
also what a lovely caring character who's only looking out for her students, and she's a beautiful trans woman. So
Here's the thing. Quite frankly, I
God
would have
damn.
probably wanted to take my bra off because bras are the worst.
yeah, that was actually a very thoughtful question. Okay.
Take your bra off. Ugh,
I wish
feel so
more
safe
people told
now.
me to take my bra off.
Babe, you can always take your bra off in front of me. I just
Thank
want to make
you.
sure you know that.
Cindy is such a little sweetie too. Like, they really could have played that moment so much worse, but she's just like, oh, nothing. I'm okay. So
She's like, it's
Thank
all
you.
good.
Anna Faris, she's
Oh.
so beautiful and perfect in this role. I love her so
She's
much.
so perfect. Want to put shine on a moment we didn't talk about, like very early in the film when he was talking about The Exorcist, the Billy
Mm.
equivalent, and she's like, if you're talking about that time that I masturbated with a crucifix and threw up green slime all
Yes.
over, it was my first kegger. Okay,
My
so
first
it's
keg
like,
party,
that
mommy.
was one of the fucking funniest lines
I
of the
want
whole
that
thing.
on a
Ugh,
t-shirt.
Yeah.
Spooky
that-
Tuesday merch coming right at you.
so many fucking funny Exorcist jokes in our last two movies. I'm
Mm.
still not over the Beetlejuice one where he's like,
Mhm.
I've seen it 167 times and it just keeps getting funnier. It's so good.
Mhm.
Oh man. Okay, any more gay thoughts you'd like to share?
So many more gay thoughts.
Just want to say, Billy Stew, forever.
Always.
That's my
Confirmed.
last gay thought.
Confirmed. Gay crew
Confirmed.
sucked.
Confirmed.
Confirmed.
I've been playing with my
Luke's
cat's nail
confirmed.
clippers this entire time. Sorry. Now I'm brandishing them at you. Okay, our next question is, where would Matthew Lillard fit into this film?
They should have given him a cameo, honestly.
Yeah.
They should have at least named a character after him. Like, we've got Cindy Campbell, and we've got whatever Felipe, and we've got Bobby Prince.
What was
But
Ray's
no,
last name? Why couldn't he been like Ray Lillard?
let's see. Let me look at the cast list.
Ray's last name. He's way down in there if you're looking at the cast. He's like not on the full page.
IMDb. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very interesting to see the way that some of these people are listed. I don't know how some of these choices were made. Oh, that is okay. A moment that I do love in Scary Movie in the beginning is when in the opener she opens the door and beats the shit out of the trick-or-treaters.
Beats the shit out of the
Yeah.
That part's really funny. Oh yeah,
That doesn't
they
get
didn't
enough
check the
shine.
box for abusing children in the film, so they had to make sure that they did that early on.
Oh, perfect.
Oh yeah. Got to make sure we smack some kids around. Jesus. It was really, really funny though.
Okay, he doesn't have a last name listed on
Yeah, he should have been Ray Lillard.
IMDb.
That would have been.
Yeah.
I'm sure he has one. Ray Scary Movie.
Brenda doesn't have a last name listed either, or Shorty. There's
Ray
so many
Wilkins.
opportunities.
Where's the Wilkins coming from, I wonder?
Oh, what is that? That's ringing so many bells for me. Wilkins.
Brenda Meeks. She has a last name. Brenda Meeks.
Yeah,
like Randy
Randy
Meeks.
Yeah. Claudia Milkins.
And Shorty and Brenda are siblings, so.
And another moment that deserves a little shine is Greg Felipe. His name is Greg. It's that the high school is BA Corps High School. That's fun. They had
funny.
funny little jokes with that. They had the coroner parked outside of the high school who just has their parking spot. They were having fun on this movie.
They're having
I know.
a blast. Matthew Lillard, just not him in the movie, but they should have not killed that fake Stu guy right away.
Here's the
Even
thing.
though that was
Or
funny, but like,
that should
not
have been
fair.
Matthew Lillard.
That should have been real Matthew Lillard.
That should have been real Matthew Lillard, and they should have shot him. Hilarious.
That would have been really good. He could have had a party cameo like he has in Scream 2. That could have been a fun thing.
That would have
for
been
him
a
to
fun
do.
reference too.
Yeah.
To Scream 2. Obviously, that movie was out. They could have done something.
They could have done
They
it.
didn't want to
and that
have.
would have been
They didn't
great.
want to have maximum fun. They just wanted to have a lot of fun. And you know what?
It's
You
not
could-
maximum fun unless Matthew Lillard
Look.
is there in the flesh.
I agree.
Exactly.
We all know this. Yeah, and more tongue stuff. I'm also more Matthew Lillard representation in the film, so more tongue stuff. That's how they could
Missed
have had more
opportunity.
Matthew Lillard in the film. Okay, does that cover us for Matthew Lillard? I feel
Yeah.
like it
I
does.
think so.
Dumb bitch. Sorry, I brought up the gun.
Dumb bitch is some of the humor in this movie. It
Yeah.
simply, some of it is not necessary. Some of it
It's
is
beyond.
not. Yeah.
It's beyond.
Yeah. Again, it was the era. It was offensive for the era, even at the time. But that was the humor at the time. So much of it was just like pushing the envelope, and isn't that funny on its own? And it's like, well, no, that's not always funny on its own. You have to have a
Yep.
joke.
Some of the like stereotypical racist stuff was like, my skin was crawling. the ableist stuff, my skin was crawling. The sexual assault shit was so constant. So
Mhm.
constant, like pushing the envelope thing. But that's the same in Scream for me. Like watching that now and seeing the way that Billy Axon is always pushing to get into Sydney's pants, like that
Yeah.
is such the impetus of so much of the movie. And then like I always forget about like the rape aspect of her mom's death and stuff too. So like
Yeah. Which
that
like
was in the movie and
yeah.
they brought it in, but it was so irreverent in this one. Ugh. And
I
that was
will say
hard.
though,
That was hard.
the one hilarious joke that we haven't touched on from Scary Movie yet that I just remembered is when they're parodying the moment where they're talking in Scream about how her mom died a year ago. In Scary Movie, they're like, she's gone. And he's like, you have to get over it. That ginger spice left the Spice Girls. And she's like, I'll never get over it. Like, that is
She was
an
the best
incredible
one of the Spice
substitution.
Girls. That was just
An
so
incredible
good.
substitution.
That was so fucking funny. And she said the exact same line too afterwards. She's like, I'm sorry that my traumatic little life isn't blah 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 for you or something like that. I'm like, oh my God. So
Yeah.
fucking funny. The dumb bitch
But yeah.
is the off-color jokes is the parts that went too far that I sat there sweating.
Yeah.
Sweating profusely. Okay. That was just our knives out of fives. Chelsea, would you care to set the scene?
Yes, I would love to. On IMDb, this movie has a 6.3 out of 10. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has 51% rotten from critics and 43% rotten from audiences. So in many ways, it was, I guess, kind of a stinker, but also in more important ways, it was a huge success. It made $1 bajillion. Like I said, its opening weekend was more successful than Scream, and then their opening weekend. It spawned a whole franchise. It relaunched a genre. And it also won some awards and was nominated for some awards. So at the Blockbuster Entertainment Awards, it was nominated. Yeah, I know. I love that. And I wish we still had that. It's so sad to me that we don't. But it was nominated for both Marlon and Shawn Wayans were nominated for Favorite Actor Comedy. And then Sherry O'Terry, who plays Gail Hailstorm, won for Favorite Supporting Actress in a Comedy.
What a name.
I know. Sherry O'Terry, such a good name.
Great name.
At the MTV Movie and TV Awards, Anna Faris was nominated for Breakthrough Female Performance, which is so incredibly deserved. The tongue-tying kiss, I assume, was nominated for Best Kiss. I don't know which kiss specifically, I guess, but I can only imagine it was that one.
It has to
and that's the one where I said earlier that James Van Der Beek had an award-winning cameo. He won Best Cameo in a movie for his moment when he's climbing through the window. And you know, again, deserved. At the Teen Choice Awards, it won Movie of the Summer, which I can imagine.
That had to have been.
Yeah. And then also at the Stinkers Bad Movie Awards, which I just always love the name of, it was nominated for Most Unfunny Comic Relief. So, you know, it had its haters at the time as well. And I think it probably deserves that nomination too. It's very funny and it's also very not funny. So, you know.
Oh, well, who wants to go first for this one?
You know what? I'll go first because
You're gonna give it a 5 out of 5.
I think that Scary Movie is incredibly iconic and had such a huge it made such a huge mark on the culture, and I think it is in many ways as iconic as Scream is. I don't have the same love for it that I have for Scream. There are so many issues that I have with it. There are so many, you know, like there's humor in it that I don't appreciate. There's humor in it that I do appreciate. I think it really runs the gamut. But I do think it's fun. I was laughing. It's just what the times were to a degree. That doesn't make it good. but that is what it was. And I don't know. I think I'm so glad it gave us Anna Faris because I love her and I think she's wonderful. I think that the Wayans brothers are often very funny. And
Yeah.
I think it's this movie was the moment in many ways as well. But just by virtue of not necessarily standing the test of time and also maybe not speaking to the moment at the moment, I can't give it 5 knives out of 5s. It's not in my heart to do that, but I will give it like a 3.5 knives out of 5s, I think, because I think it very much deserves a lot of recognition and acclaim for what it was and what it did and what it sparked. And I think they had a lot of fun with it in general. So there's love there, but I have never been a big scary movie rewatcher, but I have so much appreciation for what they accomplished.
I feel you. I think I'm like between a 2.5 and a 3. I know it sounds mean, but I really felt deeply uncomfortable this time around. Let's do 2.8. That's
Okay.
getting close to 3. But that said, like I would give a higher score maybe to Scream or not Scream, sorry. Definitely to Scream. To Scary Movie 3 because that's the one for me. I love that one so much because it was the first one I saw and it felt so fun and irreverent to see as a kid and stuff like that. And you're like, ooh, it's bad, blah, 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 blah. But it really does not like stand up to the test of time as far as like something that is even like comfortable for me to watch, you know? Like
Sure.
it was hard for me when I did laugh, I felt bad about it. You know what I mean? But there are so many like when I did laugh, I was like, I'm going to jail. Satan's gonna come up from the floor and pull me down. But like there are some parts that like you can authentically laugh to that are just funny, you know. And I want to say that the Wayans brothers, say what you will about what they create, but they're very talented. And Sean is so handsome.
Sean is so
And
fucking
so-
hot.
He's
Yeah.
so
hot.
hot.
So hot. Oh my God. I would
Marlon
just
is hot
watch
too,
it
but
without
this
the
is not
sound.
the moment for that
yeah.
necessarily.
Shorty is not giving those vibes. So sorry, Shorty. He's got a lot of other things going on that
But Ray
I
is
can't get
giving.
past.
Ray
But
is
Ray,
giving.
Oh,
amazing. So yeah, I mean they've done so much for comedy and like say like hits, misses, whatever, but like they have incredible comedic brains. So good job for that. 2.8.
I am gonna give this a 3 out of 5 knives because I laughed way more than I should have, and I did not feel bad about laughing at any.
They wanted you to laugh. They put it in there so you
want-
laugh.
That's
the
what it's
thing.
there for. That's
Oh,
what
I
it's
was
there for.
moved by art and it's my problem? Okay.
No, but like
By
I don't
art.
know. Here's the thing. I miss vulgar humor sometimes and just like actively pissing. Here's the thing. If you're gonna shit on something, you have to shit on everything. And that's what these movies do. Like,
No.
like they're not just targeting one thing, they're targeting everything.
The fact that it's equal opportunity really soothed my soul. I was like,
Exactly. It's like, you know
it
what?
feels better because they're shooting, they're just going
Like
to
everybody's
everyone and everything.
catching a bullet. Like everybody's catching
Mhm.
strays here, right? And I was just like,
They had a lot of good cop humor too in the police station where it was all like, shoot first.
right? Which
I
like,
didn't
just-
notice that. Oh no.
you can't they don't do that anymore, right? Like a movie like this, how it is, I don't know how well it would, you know, go over.
Sure.
And I love it. It reminds me of simpler times.
Simpler times in the year 2000.
Where everything was
Simpler.
real fucked up, you know?
Simpler.
Everything was real fucked up. That's so true.
It was real fucked up. We had the best time.
Ugh. Okay, well that closes the book on Scary Movie and our sort of Spooky Take Tuesday. Wait, no, how do you say it?
Spooky
You say it.
Take2sDay.
Yeah, you got it right.
Spooky Take Tuesday. Okay, cool. I said Spooky Takes Tuesday earlier today. Like we are
Mm.
taking Tuesday. We could also do
No,
that
it's a
if we wanted
take
to.
2 for
Yeah.
Spooky Tuesday.
I just got excited. I put in S's all over the place.
Yeah.
But we did a little bit of Scream. We did a lot of Scary Movie. We survived it. Everyone's okay. So thank God. And we're celebrating our 200th episode. So I just want to say that I love you guys and I'm so proud of us. And look at how far we've come.
Yay.
But anyway, next week we're back to familiar territory. Incredibly familiar because Scary Movie was half I Know What You Did Last Summer.
But
So
also not familiar at
But
all.
also not familiar at all because we have no idea how this is gonna go. No clue.
literally no idea. I have never seen I Will
I have
Always
one
Know
small
What You
idea.
Did Last Summer. What?
Yeah.
What's your idea?
Well, no, I'm not gonna tell you. It's
Oh.
spoiler related.
Oh, you have small. Oh, sorry. I thought it was unrelated to the plot
Oh,
of the
no,
film.
no,
I don't
no.
know what I thought you were trying to say.
It was. I have one small idea about what is in this movie, but it's only small idea. So,
When
who
did
can
this one
say?
come out? Was this like 2008? I will always know.
I think it's I'll always know.
It's 2006. Yeah, it's starring a whole different cast. Who the fuck are these bitches? I have no fucking clue. There's a blonde in the lead now. Where's Jennifer Love Hewitt?
Right.
She's gone. But I like our joke we made whatever episode ago it was, which is this movie should actually be called I'll Always Know What You Did 2 summers ago
Years
or
ago.
whatever, or the summer after last summer. But either way, we're gonna do it. We're gonna cover this movie and it'll probably be silly because the likelihood of this being good is low. But if it is good, we will be pleasantly surprised. And that's
I'm
next week on
curious to
Spooky
find out.
Tuesday.
I'm very curious to
Our-
find out. And I'm so glad that this episode primed us to close out I Know What You Did Last Summer. So
Summer.
thank you to our 200th episode for being in line with our theme for the summer, with our origin story, and with giving us a little Spooky Take2sDay opportunity. You've given so much to us, 200th episode,
Really.
and we want to thank you and we love you.
And also, shouts to the patrons and our listeners for suggesting this one. I can tell you very assuredly, we never would have covered Scary Movie if you hadn't voted for it. So
Yep.
you got what you wanted.
That's
and I'm not upset
true.
anymore.
People have
At the end of this
suggested other
episode,
scary
I'm not
movies.
upset anymore. It's about how I'm feeling, and I'm not upset anymore. So thank you. It took me 2 hours and 44 minutes.
But
to
you
come to
came
terms with
around.
the fact.
You came around.
I had a great time. Okay, what would our poll question be for Scary Movie? Which joke offended you the most?
Right.
No, veto.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Have you ever thrown up green and masturbated with a crucifix at a cake
No,
party?
also veto. Which Scream parody moment was your favorite?
Sure.
Okay, perfect. That's great.
That's very PC, Chelsea.
How far into the film did you break into a cold sweat and start regretting your life choices and ever starting a Patreon? I felt good for the first 3 seconds because all we were dealing with was fart jokes, but then things took a left turn.
Yeah, but then she got banana. She got banana. That didn't make you feel
Got
better.
banana. I love a banana, and she had potassium, and we're all feeling a lot better, clear of mind. Anyway.
Mhm.
So thank you guys again for listening to our 200th episode. If you want
Love you.
more of the action, follow us on social media. Oh no, give us a 5-star review and say, oh my God, you did it. 200 episodes. You didn't even cancel yourself in that last one. Good job.
Oh my
5-star
God,
review.
for you, Monica.
Whoa, amazing.
She made it.
We all made it. It's so wonderful. Or you could just give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and we'll know that's what you meant. Or you can comment actually on Spotify too and say something really nice about how we handled it all very tactfully. Five.
And I held a phone the whole time.
And she held phone the whole time. Don't know how you did that. Never could have done that myself. Very incredible.
I'm
Speaking
so
of
strong
that,
and I'm so stubborn.
That's one of the visual gags you'd see if you followed our social media at Spooky_Tuesday on most things, including YouTube, where you'll see us looking very cute in our little Scream outfits. I'm Gail. Chelsea is Casey. And Sydney is Tatum / wearing official merch for the film based on the book, The Woodsboro Murrows. All right, we're moving on. We're not. We're
I don't
going.
got
We're
much.
keeping.
Little
We're,
dive
All right, we
here.
gotta end the
moving
episode.
straight to it. We're moving straight to it.
We're done here. Bye, Spooky.
Facebook and Tumblr at Spooky Tuesday Pod. You know what else is at Spooky Tuesday Pod? Our website, put a .com after that. Look at it. It's beautiful. I broke one of the pages today, but I think I'll fix it sometime soon. And we're on Patreon. Join us. You could be making these decisions where we have to cover movies that scare us. And isn't that the whole point of a horror movie podcast? Be a part of the conversation. Check out our Patreon. And at the
Join
end
the
of the day,
cult, baby.
join the cult. At the end of the day, I have to say thank you so much for listening for maybe 200 whole episodes. Dear God, do we haunt your dreams? Maybe after 400 hours.
600
Are we
hours. It's us. We're
Your
yapping.
sleep. Are we your sleep paralysis demon? See you next Tuesday.
Bye, Spooky.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Height, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Great18. That's GR818_. And our podcast art is by Ryan Brom, who you can follow on Instagram at Ryan Brom Art. That's RyanBrommArt. Learn more about Spooky Tuesday at spookytuesdaypod.com and subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/spooky_Tuesday.